Oh my God.
There you go, Chris.
I'm just going to switch to you. Nice job. Incredible job.
Look at all the freebies.
Welcome back. My name is Dean. That was the wrong intro, but who gives a shit? If you're listening, you don't know the difference. If you're watching it on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, you do, or Twitch TV, you do, but doesn't matter. We're here. You're here. We're busy today. Karima's going to be by. She's in Ottawa. She's going to give us a pre-convoy tour. Pierre Poilievre went for a march with a whole bunch of terrorists today. That was a lot of fun to watch. We'll cover that. We've got some other things to get to. I think DeFiore is going to be buying a little bit as well. And we're joined by Ryan Lindley today, as well as Chris Rook. And it gives me great pleasure to bring this man back. I haven't seen this guy in 15 fucking years. It's got to be 15 years. Please welcome to the program, all of us.
What did he do?
I pressed the wrong button. Otherwise known as Spenny from Kenny versus Spenny, single white Spenny, Spencer Rice, ladies and gentlemen. He's back. Nice to see you.
Dean, I liked your wrong opening because I'm a blues fan and I love golf. So that was actually pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, did you like that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, a little harmonica. Yeah. I can see you're a music guy. I know you're a music guy. You've got a steel guitar behind you. You got an amp. Where are you coming to us from? Explain where you are. What's behind you there?
Of a house that I live in Kingston, Ontario. Mm-hmm. I saw you were with Dougie, who's a Kingston native. Yeah, that's where I am. I do my my podcast. It's not really a podcast. I call it a love stream. I do it usually once or twice a month from this disastrous room that I'm in. And this is also my music studio. So,
what's a love stream?
Live stream.
I thought you said love stream. We called it a love stream. Oh, you did? You call your live stream a love stream? I know what a live stream is, but why? Yeah. Why do you call it a love stream?
I like to reference orgasms at any possible time that I can creatively. So that's where that came from. But yeah, it's a live stream that I do with friends of mine.
Okay. And is this something that you've been doing for quite some time? Like, tell me about it. What goes on in the love stream? I have seen bits of it, but I would be remiss to actually explain it because I'd fuck it up, Spenny. Yeah, I would fuck it up.
I don't believe you've seen bits of it, but that's nice that you said that. But anyways, you have okay. It's been a different thing. With this room, I used to do a thing called Sex with Spenny, which was a comedic sex advice show that I did with this woman out in Nanaimo called Sweet Cheeks Capone. I axed that show, and the love stream is just me talking about really, I guess current issues, a lot of politics, stuff like that. And I've got friends that are sometimes related to Kenny versus Spenny that come on. We try to get people to come on to talk about whatever's on their mind. It's very loose format, and that's it.
Yeah, they have a really neat feature on that show where you can email whoever's producing, and they'll send you an invite link, and you can come on, just like a member of the audience. If you got something cool to talk about, he'll bring you in. Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, I saw a piece of the one you did about Norm Macdonald. So to answer your question, yes, I have seen bits and pieces of it, but so you're saying that you have a feature where you just, because this is dangerous to do. We would never do this. I would never put out a link for anybody to just come and join the show, like ever. It's suicide in 2022. It's reputational and digital suicide, Spencer.
Well, I have a proclivity for suicide, I guess. But, Kenny versus Spenny got me trolled a lot. And I at first, when it first happened, when we were on CBC, it was actually quite frightening and depressing because I didn't have a grasp of social media at all. In fact, the only thing I was doing was going into a chat room on the Kenny versus Spenny forum on the CBC website. I'm very old school. So I got used to being trolled. In fact, I refer to myself as a reverse heel in wrestling parlance because I guess in the Attitude Era, the bad guys became the good guys.
Yeah.
So by my consciousness about social issues and my general obnoxious personality, trying to teach the kids things, they hated me for it. So I just amped it up as much as humanly possible. And I'm quite comfortable with it. Although this week it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What I'm used to. But that's what I've been doing for a long time now.
Well, let's talk about it because, like, and I said this prior to getting on. I think I interviewed you like 15 years ago, and it was so weird having you and Kenny in there because you guys were like all over it back then. You were like fucking 1,000 miles an hour, and that applied to everything. We all were. We were like in our 20s, early 30s. We were doing shit, right?
Funny. I remember that.
Yeah, as were you, but like it was anything went back then. You could say kind of anything you want, you could do anything you wanted. And I remember watching one of your episodes where you guys, the challenge, I can't remember the challenge, but the loser had to get teabagged by a couple of bears. And I don't know if anybody knows what a bear is. It's a couple of larger, hairier gay men. And I believe you lost implicitly. I think you lost almost every challenge. Did you win that challenge?
No, I believe, if memory serves, that it was a tie and one of maybe 2 or 3 double humiliations that happened in the series. So both of us were teabagged. But as I said in our pre-talk, it wasn't a real teabag, which is the ball sack goes into the mouth.
Right.
And in that case, because they were bears, hairy ball sack, which is just, it would be horrible. I'm sorry. But I have to be honest as a heterosexual. Anyways, I really felt like the early years of Kenny versus Spenny was we could do exactly what we wanted, but it wasn't for any other reason than complete and utter neglect by the network. They never were around. And it was only when they started to realize what we were doing that they started to try to have editorial input. But oddly enough, working with the U.S. network Comedy Central and CBC was much cooler to work with. And Comedy Central was a nightmare with what they wanted. We had to recut episodes because of legal stuff. And Canada's just amazing, I think. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been on TV in a long time. But when we were on, it was fantastic in terms of our creative freedom.
Yeah, well, I think that's why you haven't been on for a long time. Because the same reason why I haven't been on the radio for a long time. It's like a lot of people, everything's moved, everything's changed. The things you used to be able to say and do, you can't do anymore, even in the interest of comedy, right? You used to be able to do shit and go, but it's comedy, and everybody would go, okay, I guess I got to put down my sickle and pitchfork.
Kenny and I, we're a live act. We've been a live act for 6 or 7 years now, and we play all over the world. And in that circumstance, we do whatever we want, which includes me giving prostate exams to willing members of the audience, male members of the audience. So it's pretty out there. But yeah, I think we're probably persona non grata on the old boob tube.
Have you ever detected any prostate cancer on tape?
That was one of the punchlines was after I did it. Of course, I was wearing a rubber glove and everything. This isn't a live show in a bar or a theater. Kenny would say, does he have cancer? And I go, how the hell do I know?
I just got my finger in his ass and I'm not a doctor. It's the whole idea. I'm
still doing it. I used to do it. I used to have a sort of preamble that, okay, I think it was, of course, Kenny's idea for me to do it because he won't do humiliations on live on stage. So it really came to me. And I thought when he pitched the concept of that, it was just, would you finger a guy's butt? And I said, sure, because I thought no one would let me do it. Little did I know that I think I'm in 1.5 to 2 years of doing it. And I think only one city, and I don't remember where it was, in all of the world, both US and Canada, somebody didn't step forward to let me do it. And when I realized I was going to have to do it, I had to do my heel turn on it. So I'd have to lecture them about homophobic men and prostate cancer and digital exams. Find a humorous angle. And then we did it so much that we couldn't repeat the same bit. So now I just say, who wants to get fingered? And I don't wear the lab coat. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. And I always thought that it would end with the final fingering where a Mountie would come out with the pillow, the rubber gloves, and the lube. And it would be the final one. But it's very hard to top that, I have to tell you. As a closer for a live show, Kenny says you'll never come up with anything better than that. You know?
Oh, is that the closing part of all your shows? Is you just finger a guy's asshole? Is that?
Well, I'll tell you, yes. But here's the best part: was when I'm done, Kenny takes over, and behind my back, I slip off the glove, but it's inside out, but nobody knows. So I go, "Good night, everybody," and throw the glove at the back. And people run like it's Godzilla. It's hilarious.
Spencer Rice joins us. Spenny, of course. If you've ever watched Kenny versus Spenny, you know who everybody knows who he is. You can follow him at Spenny on Twitter as well. Please give him a follow and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Love Stream Live. It's very funny, and it's great to catch up with you again. And the reason why you're here is because you fucked with Pink, dude. Like, you fucked with Pink. You didn't mean to fuck with Pink, but you fucked with Pink. 31.5, actually 6 now, million followers on Twitter. Spenny cracks a joke. I've got it here for you. This is Spencer Rice. So Pink puts out this thing the other day because you all know the Supreme Court in the United States, who is going ham again today, by the way. We won't talk about that in a minute. But you weighed in on the fact that Pink said, hey, let's be clear. If you believe the government belongs in a woman's uterus, a gay person's business or marriage, or that racism is okay, then please, in the name of your Lord, never fucking listen to my music again, and also fuck right off. We good? That was pretty badass. And then Spenny chimes in, I hope her agent survives the stroke.
Funny, right?
Right.
Yeah. It is a funny joke.
Absolutely.
Here's I have to say this.
Yeah.
In retrospect, what, it's been 2 days. I had a lot of time to think about it. Career's not going well. But anyways,
Thorough reflection.
Earlier that day, when the decision came down, I was completely outraged. And I probably tweeted 20 times, no humor, just my disgust with the Supreme Court decision. Mm-hmm. So later that day, I'm just surfing on my phone. I don't even follow Pink, but somehow she came up on my Twitter feed, and I cracked that joke. Now, this is what I do. So, like yesterday, Uberfax, which is a Twitter feed, came out with I do this a lot with that particular brand. It said, the scientists have discovered that the fastest growing hair on a man is facial hair. To which I retweet and then quote, tell that to my ball sack, right? So this is what I do. I've totally been doing it for years. I grew up.
It's just commentary, right? Like, someone says something, you riff on it. It's a quick one-liner. If you've watched Kenny versus Spenny, if you've ever met Spencer Rice, you know this is what he does. This is what he's been doing on Twitter for a long time.
Right. But the pink people, they had no idea who I was, never mind what I do. Now, they don't understand that I'm old and I grew up with loving Groucho and Rodney Dangerfield. And I love Kenny because he's a kind of one-liner guy. Mm-hmm. And I love that about him. So when I don't do it quickly, I have to think of it for a minute and then I come up with the joke. So this is what I do. Now, I will cop to the fact that it was probably terrible timing. It didn't seem like it because I'd spent the whole day beefing about the decision. But this is obviously more horrible for women than men. And I probably shouldn't have made the joke. And I own that. And I don't feel like I have to apologize for it. But the amazing thing was that many didn't get the joke, which I guess when I think about it, it's an old Hollywood. It's almost a genre of jokes, like lawyer jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't get it. And there's a part of the story which you didn't say, which was when I wrote that, Pink came back at me with I'm my own agent. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So you tweet, I hope her agent survives a stroke. She tweets, I'm my agent. We're fine. Once again, another fucking boss tweet.
And I thought there was nothing in the tone of that made me upset.
Right.
But then that released the floodgates of hate. I was called a misogynist. I was called a Christo-fascist. I mean, they came at me in so many different ways. And the really funniest part of the story, I wish I had a camera on me, was how naive I was that I could control it. I was sitting there. My wife's yelling at me, get off your phone. I go, no, I got to deal with this. And I'm literally trying to make comments to every hater that comes in. And it was like literally trying to, put your finger in something that's leaking all over. So then I gave up. I said, fuck it. I just got pummeled. There's nothing I can do. People think I'm the exact opposite of what I am. Yeah. What can I do? So I went downstairs, played some music. And when I came upstairs, I looked at my phone again, and there it was. First thing I saw, There it is. You're good, Dean. Jesus.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I got ready.
Yeah.
Pink, to your reply. So you go downstairs. So first of all, before we get to Pink letting you off the hook and helping you out here, it's not even letting you off the hook. She got it. She understood the joke. She was just answering your question. In my estimation, as I look at that, Pink makes a bold statement. You agree with her. You kind of try to add a little humor into it because you've been beefing with the Supreme Court all day about a fucking terrible decision. And you're like, hey, watch it. Your agent's probably not going to sit well with your agent because people value money over actually doing good things for good individuals and good people. So I got the irony of it. Right. And then she's like, I'm my own agent. Once again, another boss move. And 31.6 million people then decided to fuck you over on Twitter. And then you go downstairs, and I know what you're talking about with the Convoy stuff. We got it like back in February. We were trying to, and I was like, at one point, I think I tweeted 400 times in one day, and I'm like, holy fuck, that is almost physically impossible to do. Where you're putting your finger in these little holes and a new one. You're a fucking loser.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, you can't do it, and you're sweating, and you want it to end, and you're like, fuck it, you just put your phone down. So then you come upstairs after you put your phone down, and Pink does the human thing where she says, Spenny did not mean anything cruel by his joke. We all need to do our research on who we are aligned with and what team we're playing for. Spenny, we're on the same team. We're aligned, and you and I are all good. Let's keep our attention on change and unity in the face of evil. Can we just give it a little fucking round of applause for Pink, ladies and gentlemen? No one does that. No one does that anymore, by the way. Like, how did that
even find it? Like, that's the amazing thing is that she found the first thing. Do you know how many? I mean, you know how many 30 million people? I miss half the tweets. I've got 25,000. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. And I will never forget what she did. And it didn't completely help. It helped a lot, but not. You know, I still getting all kinds of people coming after me. But honestly, you said it. She is boss. She is cool. I don't even really. I know maybe 2 of her songs, which I've always liked, and I've always thought she was sexy as hell. Anyways, yeah, she's incredible, and I will forever remember what she did.
Yeah, you put up a tweet too right after that. Oh my God, you are incredible. I'm tearing up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did you really take it that seriously? You did? Like, you were really verklempt over the whole thing?
Yes, I was, because it's one thing to be. Spenny's an idiot from Kenny versus Spenny. Let's hate on him. It's a whole other thing when it's they're hating on you and you advocate for them on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. That's what I couldn't get over. And calling me exactly what I fight against. Yeah, it did upset me. I mean, the tearing, like, I used to cry during the Brady Bunch. So, like, I'm a very emotional person, and I got my panties in a knot and all that stuff. But yes, she. That tweet made me, I won't say cry, but I totally teared up, and I probably held back from crying.
Yeah. That's the world we live in, right? We have people that just jump to a certain conclusion immediately and need to say something. They have that weird obsessive need to say, not even realizing that if they would have just looked at your timeline, they would have seen what you'd done all day. You're not pro-abortion. You're literally just trying to lighten the mood. And
right. And I think I see myself, I'm very political. I am. And it's probably the dumbest thing about me, because I can't change anybody's mind, especially in this climate. And I'm not funny when I'm outraged at politics. But I've been into politics since Watergate. I'm old enough to remember coming home from school and watching the Watergate hearings. And what's happening with January 6th and Trump is so much worse than Watergate. I mean, it's not even in the same ballpark or league. Mm-hmm. And I'm completely disgusted and flummoxed by the people that still support Donald Trump. The policies, we can argue about that all day and night. But to support a man of such low character, it's just mind-boggling to me.
What do you make of, I'm glad you said it, and if you follow Spenny, at Spenny, you can follow him on Twitter, you're big into what's going on with the Supreme Court. And today, the Supreme Court, not just Roe versus Wade, which is like, it's a time machine back to colonial bullshit, right? Like, you get in this and you go, oh, fuck that, women, you're not allowed to do anything. We get control of your stuff again, your gear. It's all ours. We're going to decide what you're going to do. Almost unbelievable to people like us, right? Like me, and you, who have lived, the Roe v. Wade was our entire lives. I'm almost 50. You look like you may be in and around that age as well. So it was 51, 52. It was this thing that we lived with, which we understood to be the law, right? We knew it was the law in the United States. And so when that gets repealed, and I've gone through your Twitter feed, it's really fascinating because it's you. I'm like, I am unsure if he means what he's saying because it's Spenny. And you spent so long dicking around, putting octopuses on your head, doing all kinds of drugs. You and Kenny made a great career out of you, a great living. You made yourself being insane. And so when I watch you go through the political process and I watch you advocate for women and I watch you advocate against the EPA, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody knows this, Supreme Court just basically said the EPA doesn't matter. Power plants and people that are trying to drill for energy, you can do that. You don't have to fucking worry about it anymore. They're literally stripping everything good. Anything that the United States has done to progress past that colonial bullshit, they're stripping it away today. But my point is this, is that like it's different when I watch someone like you weigh in on it, because I don't, and maybe this is the thing, right? Is because it's not your personality or the personality that I knew, and I know everybody changes over time, but I'm with you. Like I find that I get almost obsessive compulsive over these things that happen, and maybe it's age. I don't know what it is.
No, it's not. Let me just say this. First of all, I tweeted today that the Supreme Court is feverishly working to get kids hooked on tobacco again, because that's the direction they seem to be going. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything wrong with you or me, no matter what everybody tells me. I think we're seeing a major cultural shift away from what we grew up with. Yes, democracy and liberalism. Not in Canada so much, but I'm worried that's another conversation to have, whether it's going to hold water here in this country. But I think this is horrible. I mean, I really do. And I am emotionally affected by it. Yes, I'm not a woman, but I'm an empathetic person. And I'm more mad at the Democrats in the States than I am at the Supreme Court justices, even though they kind of really were weaselly about how their confirmation hearings went. And they might have out and out lied in private meetings to Collins or whatever her name is and Manchin. But the Democrats let this happen. And Bill Maher, who is, reviled these days, he's been saying for a long time that basically the Democrats are bringing a butter knife to an AK-47 fight with the Republicans. And I think he's right. I think that they let this happen. And I don't know why, if it's corruption, laziness, or generational. But right now, Trump got it done. The abortion, to be honest, I kind of am impressed by the people I despise their views on, because they spent years and years and years, decades, in fact, building this moment, and they accomplished their goal, and it wasn't easy. So I'm really upset with the left for letting it happen and not realizing what I think rational people should realize, is that these people are not playing fair. They're ruthless, they're smart, and by that I mean the Republicans, the Mitch McConnells, the whatever.
Yeah. What do you make of what's happening here? We got Canada Day Convoy this week, and obviously you're outspoken about it. We're going to have a whole show about it.
This is probably my most controversial Canadian view, which was I was initially, when COVID happened, very supportive of the mandates, and then as time went on and on and on, and I would hear stories of people losing their businesses and all the financial hardship, and then going out and even touring, a little bit, when I saw how many people weren't wearing masks, how difficult it was to enforce the science, I became against the mandates. Then the original convoy thing happened in Ottawa, and I was supporting basically what they were trying to say, which is ending the mandates. But I was appalled by the blocking of streets and international bridges. It's just that simple. And yes, there's a Trumpy element to a lot of them, and I'm against that too. But I'm a realist. Like, if you live in a democracy, you have to be able to handle people that you disagree with. But I don't know. What are they, Dean? What are they doing in Ottawa today or this week?
just like it's pregame. They're pre-gaming. Everybody knows how to pregame, right? It's like pre-game insurrection, pre-game. It's interesting because in Canada we all know that everything that kind of bleeds from the United States comes up here culturally. You know, the information and disinformation. But what they're saying about this one is it's the same people and it's the same reasoning, and there are no mandates, right? There are none. There are no mandates for anybody.
What's their issue?
Well, and again, no one knows. This is the one thing that you ask everybody when they go there, and they say the same thing. Like, what are you doing here? They say freedom. We're here for freedom. What does freedom mean? It means freedom for all Canadians. And then you say to a guy like Pierre Poilievre, who marched with these guys today, by the way. And let me just kind of bring this up. This is Karima's vision. The guy on the right is a dude named James Topp. He's been walking across Canada. I think you probably know who this guy is. He's a member of this extremist sort of terror watch group called Diagolon. So is the gentleman who's scary as fuck on the left, and a couple of other terrorist individuals here. So he's kind of cast his vote with these guys, and you've got different levels of insurrectionists. You got different levels of anti-mandate people. But generally speaking, I kind of agree with you in principles. You've got some people that are mixed up in this business who really just think that everybody should be allowed to have a choice during a worldwide epidemic where a whole bunch of people died, or a pandemic where a whole bunch of people died. And while I don't agree, because reasonable limitations, and I understand science, and we've had a bunch of people on the show that we put through peer-reviewed studies talking about the efficacy of these drugs and these vaccines, where it comes to actually saving and producing a better environment for people, when we don't know what it is that is going around and how we are getting it. Like, dude, we found out like halfway through this, it's like, oh, by the way, it's not droplet related, so you can stop washing your hands, or it's not, you know what I mean? Like, everything kind of evolved as we went through this. So when someone like you says, well, I kind of changed my mind, I get it. I think a lot of us did, because what was true yesterday wasn't true the next day.
I'm triple vaxxed. It's not. I don't disagree with the science. I just think that they maybe should have approached it more from people at high risk. I'm not sure how that would be done. I'm not a politician, but I just really felt badly for people who are trying to earn money for their family. Were having a difficult time doing it, and yet it seemed like the disease was spreading regardless. I may change my mind again about this when more information comes in. But I myself and my family were all vaxxed. But the thing is, here's the thing, and I find this a lot with people that I argue with, or that I argue with on social media. It's somehow everything has to be 100% foolproof, or it's all bad, right? In other words, like with guns, for example. Even today, I was talking to someone where they do the guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's a mental health problem. But yet the bottom line is, when you push them on it, they just won't give an inch to anything. When we all know the reality is, if you had, let's say, an age limit in Texas, the kid who killed those 19 kids and 2 teachers or whatever it was, horrible, horrible thing, he might not have been able to get a gun the day before. So there right away, you may have saved 22 lives. But to these people, it's like, no, you have to save every life, or there's no gun. Like, it's so intellectually dishonest and frankly dumb that people take this argument, because everything in life, nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. There's always going to be, unfortunately, mass killings, no matter what we do. But does that mean that doing something to maybe save 10%, 5%, 20% is off the table? It's insanity.
Yeah, we live in that time, don't we, where someone can say, and you have these arguments with people on a daily basis, at least I do, where, it's masks are all bad, or they do nothing. And then you've got the other crowd that's like, if you're not wearing a mask, you're going to die. And the truth is always in the middle, which is what we've advocated, I think, by and large for the past couple of years, which is like, hey, listen, if it's just part of that level of understanding where it's going to protect you against possibly getting it, and you can add another barrier, like, we understood the different levels of necessity when it came to protecting yourself and your family. But in no way did I think, like, I wasn't dumb enough to go, well, the vaccine means we'll never get it. right? The
How about
vaccine,
this? The vaccine probably has kept, I don't know how many people from dying.
millions.
They just said,
Oh.
I think it was 53 million worldwide. The actual data's back saying
You wanna
53
know,
million
Dean,
people.
Here's my theory on all of it. And I used to shit myself on television. I am no source to be taken overtly serious. But I will say this, that the Trumpers, the Freedom Convoy people, whether they know it or not, in my opinion, are essentially white supremacists. And there's benign white supremacy and there's malignant white supremacy. Obviously, malignant white supremacy are the neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, yada, yada, yada. These people, I believe, and this is my theory, that they're fundamentally afraid of liberalism and they're fundamentally afraid of losing their majority rule thing. And that doesn't mean they're bad people, but we all are affected subconsciously in life. And I think that's where all of this really comes from. Fear of the other, fear of equality, fear of losing their advantage. It's the only way I can make sense out of it, about people who are not tethered to facts at all.
Privilege. You're talking about privilege, right? Whether it be white privilege, whether it be elite privilege. Sorry, what's that? What'd you say?
Maybe privilege is a better way to put it than supremacy. Yes, privilege.
Oh, no, there's some supremacists in there too, dude.
Well, of course.
We know that. James D. Fiore joins us as well for blackballmedia.ca is where you can find him at James D. Fiore on Twitter. Spenny is here. Spencer Rice took it in the mouth from Pink's fans over the past few days. We're just clearing that up today.
Actually, nice to her to the back.
I couldn't believe someone actually got forgiven on Twitter. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That happened?
Yeah.
I know.
How odd was that?
That's why I cried.
That'd be a great short film.
I noticed as the Pink stuff died down, you started up with Sarah Silverman today, though. What was that all about?
Well, that was that. Okay, well, it's no big deal. First of all,
Spenny, you just have to fight, don't you?
No.
And apparently he has to fight women.
I've met Sarah. I went to dinner with her, but we sat at the other end of the table. I met her at a Comedy Central party when Kenny versus Spenny was on Comedy Central. I love her. I love her humor. I think she's hilarious. Whatever. And since social media, she's retweeted a few of mine over the years, and it always makes me feel good when she does. So Roe v. Wade gets overturned, and she does a tweet which I kind of misread. And I basically said, yes, you should be angry. And I went into a rant about what's happening in the United States, to which she came back at me with, you don't think I'm angry? Who the fuck are you? You know? And it was like, the word should could be taken two ways, right? There's, you should be angry because you're not, or you should be angry because you are. In other words, you should. You know?
Yeah, should.
You should. So she took the latter, and but then I'll tell you where it got a little dark for me. She told me to sort of, take a breath, get off my phone, and go bounce a ball. And so then I came back a little angry with her, and then she ended up by saying, "Oh, men, M-E-N," as if somehow I'm not allowed to. And again, we have to guess what their intent is with these posts, right? She had to guess mine, I had to guess hers. That's part of the problem of social media and text in general. But yeah, I thought that's really insulting to me. I can't believe she meant it, but maybe she did. I blocked her. I'm sure she could give two rats shit about me blocking her, if she even knew. She's got millions of followers as well. And then I woke up this morning and I unblocked her because I got a couple of very nice tweets, not from her. Anyways, I think everybody's upset. Everybody's angry. It goes to what I said earlier. There's nothing wrong with you, Dean. There's something very right with you, I think, if you're having emotional turbulence over what's going on in the United States.
I think, and I do. I think we all do. I think to a man or a woman or a gender-neutral human being, I think to someone with common sense, you would have to be void of empathy. You would have to be void of humanity to not look at, because we all have these friends. In fact, I've got family that is completely on the other side of this equation, right? Not the, let's help each other. Let's try and accept people for who they are. Let's try and make people's lives a little better. Let's advocate for the marginalized and people who need that advocacy, especially when it comes to white privilege or our privilege as men. I mean, we got 4 old white dudes on this thing. We were born into this crazy privilege through no fault of our own, just fucking magic DNA and 1 in a 1 quadrillion chance of being born. I mean, that's why we're here. Yet it's funny, I've watched over the past few years, and I've gone the opposite way. And I used to robe myself in white privilege when I was younger. I used to, this is a nice white privilege coat. I'm gonna put it on. I got my white privilege hat, and I got my rich friends, and they'll protect me from everything. And now that I don't feel that way, I look at that as gross. And anything to do with this movement is disgusting, because all I see are white people marching, right? Marching for what? And a lot of white men marching for something that they're told they're losing. And they're being told they're losing by people who want to benefit from their loss, like Pierre Poilievre, politicians in general. And it's not right. And it's not just like the conservatives; it's politics, and it's the inability for people to do the right thing in the right moment for the people who truly need help. And that's what's changed me over the years.
But do you think that there's, and again, I call people dumb all the time, and it's probably my wife can't stand that I do that. But I don't know how to deal with arguing with someone who doesn't have rational logic and seems to have no sense of history whatsoever. Wouldn't know Watergate from fucking a Leaf game. It's very difficult. And let's be honest. I believe people don't read like they used to. I believe they're on their phones buying shit. They're not developing that part of their brain. And by the way, that's a muscle. Like, it's gone. If you don't read, up to a certain age, you're never going to read. So right away, Noam Chomsky always talked about the sort of tyranny of TV sound bites. You can't really say anything nuanced if you don't have the time and the judgment to be able to make a point, drawing in from the past and the future and whatever. I see a lot of people they're simply incapable of that. So they fall right into when Donald Trump said, "I love the uneducated," was one of the greatest lines ever. It does feel like that to me. And I know people say I'm arrogant and I'm self-righteous, all true probably. But it doesn't change the facts that I'm arguing with people and that, who just seem to be incapable of putting, 1 + 1 = 2 in any kind of reasonable argument. And that's scary to me. It really is.
You're far from being alone, I would say, though. I mean, if someone had how to argue with people online and do it effectively, they would be a trillionaire. I think by
nothing would make me more happy than to be wrong about everything, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If someone could prove to me that Trump, won that election, and and that I'm an hysteric and getting a skewed view from social media, I would be thrilled, because it would take away all of the angst that I'm feeling. And I'm the kind of person that can admit when I'm wrong. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I see a lot of intellectual dishonesty, and I think it's just a very bad thing.
You're clearly not on drugs anymore, are you?
Well, I had last night I had quite a bit of vodka. I don't take drugs like I used to. Absolutely.
Well, it's just like, it's incredible because, the conversation that we're having is very different. And I know it was a long time ago and it was in a professional setting, and this is very different. But, the social awareness and the self-awareness that you talk about and that you talk with is different. And the last time I saw you, you were fucked. I might have been fucked too. I can't remember. But I don't. Like, you loved the drugs back then. Like, here, I got a clip. This is a clip that actually you put out on Twitter, and I want to play it for people. This is old Spenny. Like, I'm watching new Spenny, and I'm like, fuck, old Spenny was a rip too, but I do love new Spenny, and I don't know if you were really on acid here, but I'd like to play this.
My wife doesn't like either, just so you know.
This was, just so everybody knows, this is a clip from Kenny versus Spenny, and the challenge was to see who could wear a dead octopus on their head the longest. Is that correct? Yep. Spenny, and in there somewhere, Kenny slipped some acid in your drink. Is that correct?
Yes. My orange juice. Yes. But it it took me weeks and weeks to drink it. It just so happened that I drank it on the day we were doing the octopus episode.
Well, so this is really you on acid, right? This is
Yeah.
not.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, well let's watch. This is Spenny on acid. This is why it's so different. This is why it's a mind fuck for me seeing you talk about social awareness, and then we watch this.
Hey, tell me what's going on, man. Tell me what's going on. I've been through it. I fucking was born, man! Holy shit! Oh my god, he's so fucked. Look at him. Oh my god, he's covered in shit. You're covered in shit. That's disgusting. You pooed. Wash it off. Kenny! I love you. Okay, no, don't film me. Seriously, it's too much. Seriously.
Like, that's how I know you, right? Like that's Spenny to me. This is not Spenny to me, but now I'm really happy this is Spenny to me because that Spenny was a lot of fun too, dude.
You'd think that Trump would make me that guy, and instead he's made me this guy. But you brought up something interesting, which is our ages, right? And so sometimes I'm arguing and calling people stupid, and it could be 15 years old. I have no idea. I'm like 108. Anyways, it's crazy. This is crazy. And I will say this about social media, which I think is the story about the pink thing. Obviously, the razzmatazz of her being a huge celebrity and all that is what people gravitate towards. But I think that there are consequences to social media and the internet in general that are majorly, I would say, aid and abet the people that Dean, you and I don't seem to care for. And there are consequences, I believe, to it that are very real. I don't have the answers. I'm not a genius. I don't know what it is. But for starters, I would say the social media companies should not allow anonymous accounts. I don't know why they do. Well, I know why they do, for money. But I don't know how they monetize that stuff. But that to me just seems right off the bat to be because when you're in an anonymous account, you can troll. And let's talk about the trolls. Like, how do you explain people that sit at home and try to make people like me angry, which is very easy to do, obviously. But how do you explain what that is?
Right.
It
doesn't compute with guys like us. Like, we're all kind of around the same vintage. James is from traditional media. You were a traditional content provider in traditional media for a long period of time. And I remember when Twitter came along and they were like, hey, you should probably get on Twitter. I was golfing with our CEO at the time. And he's like, what are you doing on the internet? I'm like, nothing. Why bother? It's like, fuck, no one wants to know that I'm taking a dump at 10:30. No one wants to know what I had to dinner. I'm not going to take pictures of me out and go, here's me at the Ripley Aquarium. It's a lot of fun seeing fish and stuff. Like, I was under the impression that nobody wanted to know what anybody did with their spare time. Now I'm like fucking floored. Like, spare time is what everybody wants to know. What is Kenny doing in his spare time? What's James doing in his spare time? What is he eating in his spare time? It's like spare time is social media, right? And it's all a lie about their spare time too, like on Facebook. And I say this all the time, is that we came from an era where you had to put on an entertaining, informative show, right? You don't have to do any of that now.
No.
None of it. There are live streams of people eating 3 meals a day that get millions of views a month. Millions of someone just eating. There's a live stream of the Canada Day Convoy that's been going on. It's got thousands and thousands of people watching it right now, and it's just 4 camera angles. Like, I never thought I'd live in a time where people would go, oh, I just want to sit here and watch like people watch. But that's legitimately what everybody loves to do now. And you can't fight that because no one gives a shit. Like, these are people that have nothing, totally anonymous, don't give a fuck. So they've got no problem. If they're a Pink fan and she's like, hey, I don't like Spenny, or when they perceive that there's a problem between their favorite pop/rock artist, which, by the way, I love Pink as well. When they see, they're like, hey, fuck, I'm going to get after that guy, because there's zero recourse, right? We came from a time in media where there's recourse. Like, you couldn't lie, you couldn't make shit up. Now there's none of that. Now everybody can do whatever they want with very little recourse.
Right, but that's the thing. And I always use as an example vaudeville. right? Because there were entertainers for a few generations, and that was the thing, right? You went on the road and you played the vaudeville circuit, and then that died. So then comes radio, which you know a lot about, obviously, Dean. And then that doesn't go away, obviously, but what it tells me is that it's always going to change, and the smart, creative people will figure out a way to do what they do with whatever the hell is thrown at them. And I think that's kind of why I'm in my basement doing live streams, because if you're truly creative, you have a compulsion to create. And you're going to find a way to do it. If it's not on a street corner playing guitar, I will find a way to do my thing. And, so you have to kind of go with the punches. I mean, Jack Benny's a great example, right?
But do you remember when you used to have to work? Like, you don't have to work anymore. Like, do you know what I mean?
Being on the road is sort of like work, but it's fun. I used to, before I was in show business, I was a landscaper. I worked in real estate. I did a lot of jobs. I remember that. And let's be honest, one of the great things about what we do is that if you can figure out a way to make money doing it, you don't have to do that shit.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of cool.
Ryan
James?
and I were talking about last night about how my job here at the Dean Blundell Show is like the longest job I've ever had. It's been 2 years. I'm 45.
Well, now there's this big debate about working from home, and Elon Musk wants, if you don't come into work, you're fired. It's just a cacophony of shit. And
did you see what happened today too? Like all the Elon Musk employees went to SpaceX and Tesla today. Like they all went back today. Today was apparently go back to work day. Okay. And I don't know if you read what happened, but I fucking died laughing. Not enough parking spots. So they had to like literally park down the street and take a shuttle or a bus. Like half the employees didn't have desks. And one of the employees who works at Tesla is like, dude, the Wi-Fi here blows now. Like there's no way, because they've repurposed the entire building for other shit. And then Elon's like, you fucking get back to work. And everybody's like, all right, we'll come back to work. So they walk into work, no desks, no parking spots, no pencils, no dry erase board, and no Wi-Fi. Like literally at Tesla, this guy's flying shit to the moon. And they're like, fuck, we've got nowhere to sit.
He owns Starlink.
Yeah,
he owns an internet company.
He owns an internet provider company that's flying millions of fucking orbital satellites around the world, and he's like, fuck, come back to work. Okay, great. Where's our desk? He's like,
we needed bolts for the satellite. So
I try to. This is my thing. And this is where I get crazy with the internet, is that they're going to attack me because I'm anti-Trump. But they won't be honest or take the time to hear what I'm anti-Trump about. It's not about policy. I'll be the first to say that Trump went in and he rejigged some of those foreign deals, and he did great things for the country. It's not about that. It's about character and ethics for me. But you can't, with so many people bombarding you with information and hate and attacking, no one's going to take the time to say, oh, okay, that's reasonable. And when they do, it's a great moment when I actually connect with the Trumper, let's say, and they realize that I'm not anti-gun, and they realize that I can say Trump did some good things. It's all Trump derangement syndrome in your head. What is it? The rent free, he's living in your. It's just all so dumb, and I don't know why I care at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you do, though, because like I enjoy this version of Spenny. I kind of missed the old version. Like I didn't know what I'd get today because we've only kind of hung out once or twice.
1 second. Keep talking.
Okay. But I'm happy that I've got this version of Spenny because he's socially aware. Did you say, James? He's socially aware. We got socially aware Spenny. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. He's got the octopus hat on.
For all time's sake. For you,
there it is.
Now I feel like I'm on acid.
Yeah, now the three of us are on acid. Spenny's got an octopus on his head.
Hey, do you still hang out with Kenny? How's he doing, by the way? Is he
Kenny's great? Kenny's great. Yeah, he's we don't hang out because we live in different cities. I'm in Kingston. He's in Toronto. He did much better financially than I did, so my whole life is trying to get him to work when he wants to eat frogwa and hang out at his cottage. So that's my life. But no, he's great. He's great. And a lot of people think he's a Trumper just because we're always the opposites. Mm-hmm. But nothing could be further from the truth. He's not overtly political, which is probably smart. But no, he's good.
Good, man. I listen. It's great to catch up with you today. We got to get to a bunch of Convoy stuff, but I was absolutely entertained by you. And folks, go and follow Spenny at Spenny on Twitter. And where can we download your podcast? I know you're on YouTube.
It's on a YouTube channel, and I just put the link. And if they're following my social media, they'll find it. It's very.
Can I ask one question? Just one, because I got here late, and I don't know if I dreamt it, Spenny. So I'm just wondering though, did you ever do a David Schwimmer impersonation, or did I dream that?
No, but they've called me David Schwimmer with Down syndrome. Kenny started that, and then
maybe that's what I said.
So I've got that. I've got pay wolfish. I rape pugs. These are the things that I was
gonna say it was more like the Canadian Larry David. Now that you're getting older,
I was just gonna say. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Larry is so amazing and so funny. And my cousin Marjorie, who really got me into show business, she passed away and she wrote for Seinfeld and she was friends with Larry before he was famous. And he was just a cab driver, and he would do the comedy nights or whatever. But to be compared to him in any capacity is a tremendous.
Absolutely. I think the momentum of your speech and everything and it's and what we've seen the last week on Twitter. It's very Curb Your Enthusiasm esque to me.
Well, I don't want to think too much about it, but thank you. I guess
you guys. You guys.
That was a compliment.
Totally, and you and Kenny both deserve a ton of credit. Where we come from that era where everybody's so competitive with their brands and their shows and what they were doing and stuff like that. But you guys were literally kind of Fear Factor. You're pioneers. You're Fear Factor, like reality television pioneers. You were before everybody else.
Well, no, I have to interrupt you to say that.
You were for me.
Tom Green.
Yes.
Tom Green was the real innovator in all of us. Jackass, Kenny versus Spenny, the stuff that he did when he was on Rogers Cable with pranking his parents. That was
Slutmobile.
The Slutmobile. That
podcasting.
Pardon?
Like Joe Rogan credits Tom Green for getting him into podcasting, because he sort of did podcasting before it was called
just did his own shit. Yeah.
And by the way, he does stand up now, and we opened for him on a New Year's Eve show in Ottawa, and I have to say he was fantastic, but he doesn't get the credit he deserves for really I can't think of anybody before him that did that kind of stuff. Not one person.
No, but the punishments.
Maybe Stern. That's about it.
But the punishments and the stuff that you guys, like the levels you guys took it to, it was like nothing on television. Nothing came before it. You can talk about, the idea of it, being different, and Tom Green being the guy or the impetus that a lot of people chose to follow. But you guys were it, man. I remember watching you, and I know we're roughly the same vintage, but I remember watching you going, how the fuck are they allowed to do that on cable television? Like, how the fuck is that allowed? And loving it, not being upset or writing a letter, because that was back before the internet, before you could write a letter. Remember that? Where it's like, you've got no one complained. Now everybody can complain, so you can't do that anymore. Clearly,
Showcase, CBC2 and Showcase were great. We're great partners and let us get away with a whole lot of stuff that is unimaginable now, I would think.
Oh fuck, dude. Like, could you imagine doing any of the things that you do? Like, let's say 100 skits that you guys did, how many do you think you could do on cable television today?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because Kenny had all the episodes up on his YouTube channel, and they were up for years. And then he put them into 4K, which is, I guess, a higher resolution or whatever. Yeah. And then YouTube, out of all these years, after all these years, started to give him warnings, and he had to take down the whole thing. So,
Jesus.
But there's some episodes that are fine for kids to watch. I mean, we did a lot of episodes, but some of them are, they're completely inappropriate for today's thing. And that's
internet.
Have me come back on, and we'll talk about comedy and
I would love to. Love to. Spencer Rice, Spenny from Kenny versus Spenny, Love Stream podcast. You can go and get it on YouTube. Please go and follow him. Thanks for doing this, dude. It was really, really nice to catch up with you again. You're still great.
We're going on the road. We're going to be in BC and then Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan first and BC. Just check Kenny or my social media, and you can get tickets if there's some left.
Okay, bud. Great to see you. Thanks so much for
doing
this.
Guys. I really appreciate it.
See you, Spenny.
Take care. There you go. Spenny, Spencer Rice, ladies and gentlemen. What a nice guy. I really didn't know what to expect when we had him on. I had no idea. I'm like, is he going to go nuts?
Because
the last time I saw him, he was like crying his eyes out on a television show.
Hey.
Karima. You're
You want a plane?
breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence, baby. Oh, Karima. Begging you, please, to come home. Come on home. You got a haircut, too. Boy, do you look nice. Karima Saad, ladies and gentlemen. She joins us live in Ottawa. Sorry you missed Spenny. Apologies. There was a lot going on. I was going to put you on, but I know you're busy. How are you, dear?
I'm good. I'm in a car, actually, heading back downtown now. I've spent the day scooting beside the marchers. For those who don't know, there is a man who I guess has walked from Vancouver, and he's picked up a few stragglers along the way.
James Top? His name's James Top, is that correct?
That's James Top. There's lots of signs, I am James Top, and then people wearing shirts, who is James Top? So there's some interesting messaging going on around Mr. Top. Shortly we'll be at the War Memorial for the last final leg of the tour.
Okay. So, sorry, Jamesy, what were you going to say about?
I would just the whole James Top thing. There's a joke that hasn't been written yet that I can't.
Oh, James
out,
Top or bottom?
Yeah,
I know.
The top, yeah.
I get it. Yeah,
I just like how who is James Top? They're literally answering their own questions through T-shirts. It's nice.
Yeah.
You never think.
Okay, we figured it out. You can go home now.
That reminds me of Hillary Clinton's book, where it was called "What Happened, Hillary Clinton," and it's like the only time you ever saw a book where the answer to the question of the title was right below it.
It's Convoy, pre-Convoy, of course. Tomorrow, we all know the Canada Day Convoy is set to go and coincide with Canada Day. It's June 30th. We love this country. Karima does too. She is a proud Canadian, as we all are on this panel, and she is taking in the festivities. Now, before we get to James Top, and we'll tell everybody who James Top is, you've spent the day scootering, doing videos. You've actually spent the last 2 days doing it, following guys around. You've been in Ottawa now for what, like 24 hours, if you will. What's the pre-Convoy vibe like? How do you explain? Look at you're smiling and laughing already. I'll just shut up and let you talk. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. It really depends on who you talk to. So this morning I was in the hot tub with two people from Thunder Bay who came from Thunder Bay to participate, I believe, in this little walk. So, there are tourists who are in line with the freedom movement, the so-called freedom movement. I've also spoken to many angry locals, and probably the biggest category of people are just those who don't really get what is happening. So aren't invested enough to be angry about anything, apart from
dead spot. We got a dead spot.
The general state of the world. Do not understand why they're this way.
So what you're saying is that most of the people there are totally confused and have no fucking idea what's going on. They're just there for the party so far. Is that seems to be? No, we got you.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
I think she's
you got
delayed.
us? Hello?
Yes,
you got
I
us?
can hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. So what you're saying is that the majority of the people that you've talked to about the vibe or the cross section of individuals, you've got the hardcores, a couple of them, I guess, maybe. But generally speaking, you've got people there that are just there for the party that really don't fucking have any idea what's going on. Is that kind of am I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, the people who are marching.
Can't hear her now.
Oh, no. Oh, this is terrible.
Go ahead.
Okay,
No, you're back.
The ones who are marching, they have a better sense, I guess, of what's going on. Although I think that the demands were written before the end of mandates. So it's not really in line with what reality is anymore. But just like on a local level, there's a lot of residents just confused by what's going on.
Oh, it's shame. It's shame the locals have no idea what's going on after fucking February, where everybody seemed to know what was going on, but nobody knows what's going on because it's not even a movement. Like, I watched you today, and let me play you a video. I watched you today watch Pierre Poilievre march with a couple of guys, and I'll get to who these guys are. This is Karima's video. This is her trying to. We got a little pooch in the scene there. That's kind of nice. This is Karima's video of Pierre walking with the guy James Top, who you referred to, and a whole bunch of other people from an organization called Diagolon. I'll explain that in just a second. Let's watch this. So I watched that and put up a picture of it, and I was inundated with different people that said, hey, listen, do you know who those guys are he's walking with? And I did a little math, and a couple of those guys are with a group called Diagolon. Now, this is a group of people led by a guy named Jeremy McKenzie, who's just a fucking fruitcake. Who literally hates everybody and everything, and he thinks he's part of a country inside of Canada and the United States. It stretches like from Alberta all the way down to Manitoba,
Big
and then maybe is Diagolon and goes like all the way across North America. That's how fucked these guys are. They're all ex-veterans. They're all part of the Mefloquin suit, so they've got some legitimate issues that they're trying to deal with. But more importantly, Pierre, in my understanding, was walking with like known extremists that are on like Canada's CSIS watch list. Is that what I saw? Did you see that too?
I mean, he was walking where he was walking with the people he was walking with. I am not privy to any watch lists. I can say that the guy in the camo bucket hat was taking his role seriously.
Mm-hmm. The guy in the camel bucket hat was taking his role as security guard seriously. Yeah,
Thanks.
That's, by the way, that's this guy here. So the guy on the right is a dude named James Top. That's the guy that's doing the walk. He's a member of Diagolon. This fella on the left is also a member of Diagolon, and the guy behind him, you see there, this guy, the dude, that's Paul Alexander. He was part of Trump's anti-vaccination team. And he is a huge proponent of what is going on here. And he's connected to all the people that are legitimately organizing this thing, including their chief organizer, Pierre Pepperdix, which is this guy right here. He's not just walking with these guys. He is absolutely involved in the backroom conversations, and we're going to prove that out over the next couple of days, of these people who are showing up for nefarious reasons. Not the people showing up for Canada Day just because they want to be a part of talking about freedom, because those people, as you've pointed out, are incredibly fucking confused and they have no idea what's going on. They're there with the extremists. They're part of the organizational group. What was that vibe like with Pierre walking down? Because you actually recorded the whole thing.
I mean, he is just such a slimy person. So it's in the march as well, and at least he sort of put on walking clothes. Like, shows up in his like dress pants and black dress shoes, but they definitely weren't running shoes, and he maybe did a few blocks with them before he bounced in his own vehicle. So like, they're all just using each other, trying to get some clout, if we can call it that, off of him. But it's gross. He's gross to be around.
It's just smarmy looking.
He's gross to be around, she says, Jamesy.
Yeah, I wish she's right, because if someone told him, okay, Pierre, look, you're going to be marching with some controversial characters, just try not to put a look on your face that says, I'm using these people and getting away with it. And that's exactly the look that he has on his face. Like, come on. Look at that face.
Yeah, that's you know what that look is? That's the look. These people have cash and votes. That's that look. That's like,
right.
I need these people to get to where I'm going. Okay, so Smarmy, we know that. This has caused that picture, by the way, your video, I don't know if you know this, has already gone fucking super viral. And you have some real legitimate people asking real legitimate questions about why Pierre Poilievre is hanging out with guys from Diagolon. And it ain't just me. This is Adam Lockett, presumptive leader of the Conservative Party, is marching with extremists who have vowed to occupy Ottawa until democratically elected government is overthrown and the Prime Minister is in prison. Pierre Poilievre is a clear threat to the country. I can't disagree with that. And then, of course, there's Karima's tweet. Even Pierre Poilievre's resting face looks opportunistic. That was a fucking great comment. And then you've got Rachel Gilmore, who literally went on a heater, and she kind of brought the whole thing together. She's a reporter from Global News, and I got to give her a ton of credit. Pierre Poilievre is choosing to walk alongside James Topp. James Topp went on Jeremy McKenzie's show, who was part of the broadcast, and said they hoped the Freedom Convoy would be Canada's January 6th. Yes, that January 6th. That is who this guy is walking with. That is him on the right. And if you're like, oh, well, fucking give me the receipts, show me proof. Sure, here you go. This is a James Topp, bottom left, under the name Rants, talking about how he hopes that they could drive trucks right into Parliament and take over the government. That's who Pierre Poilievre is walking with.
Guys, let's get pumped for this. Let's go to fucking Ottawa.
Let's go.
I want to see one of those truckers. I wouldn't prize, not none of our guys, obviously, but I would like to see our own January 6th event. See some of those truckers plow right through that 16-foot wall. None of us, of course. I just like to see it.
There's going to come a point in time where you're going to look back and be like, you're telling your children, like, were you there on this day?
But I was there.
Canadian history. And
well,
that's
true, though. I mean,
be there.
Fuck, did you see the shit from Tim Pool?
Anyway, these guys are like clearly can't pay attention for longer than 4 minutes. Do you see the stuff from Tim Pool?
It's so weird. It's so they all have 4 laptops when they're clearly in the same basement.
Yeah, right. I love how they think that oh yeah, I was there. I'm going to be able to say that to my grand.
Yeah.
You were where at what? Like they just so they put such an air of self-importance into this
and drama. It's like it's like fucking Bridgerton with losers. That's what this is. No sex and no hot chicks and no hot dudes. This is like
there's definitely sex.
Is there really in this group?
We won't get into it, but yeah. Like,
oh fuck! You can't say that, Karima, and not get into it. Right?
What the hell?
Yeah. Especially since we're in a hot tub with Thunder Bay folks.
Yeah. Is it just a big backwoods pubic orgy every time these guys get together?
I don't mean on the march specifically, but like in any community, it's just.
There's a lot of sharing, is there?
It's a lot of unwashed ass too.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
A lot of monkeypox. A lot of monkeypox in the group.
That's just their pet word for hepatitis.
That's right. They trade it like Pokemon cards. So I got A. Who's got B? I got A.
Do the STD tracing in this group is going to be impossible in the new year. It's going to be so fucking hard.
Got it.
Need it. Okay, so what's happening tomorrow, Karima? Like, what do you know about this group and what they're setting up? We'll get to Pierre later, and I'll fucking give it to him on a blog later too. So, but what is, because Canada Day festivities are not in front of Parliament. I'm watching people get turned away, like literally get turned away, in different groups. Like this dude in a fifth wheel, he got turned away the other day. I love watching guys do fifth wheels, but they are bringing hot tubs and stuff. Like you put this, you know, if you don't follow Karima, do it. Because she spied this guy bringing in a hot tub to the festivities. So what do they have planned?
To be fair, I think he was just in the vicinity, and I think that's the joke. I don't know that there is a plan. I feel like this today culminates, at least James Topps's contribution to what's going on. And tomorrow there's an event calling for some sort of treason Trudeau in front of Parliament Hill, which, as you pointed out, is not where Canada Day festivities are scheduled to take place. So it will be a limited audience, I suspect. And there doesn't seem to be any real purpose. I do know that there is a camp just outside of Ottawa, and apparently they plan to stay there indefinitely until the government is deposed. But like, is there a concrete plan? I'm not aware of it.
I'm going to stay right here in my house 400 kilometers away until Justin Trudeau is taken out of his office too. I'm with him.
Yeah.
Solidarity, brothers. You fucking clowns.
This is so much more fun than the last one because we can smell them coming, right? Like that's
Oh my gosh, it's pungent. I felt bad because I
do you
made
mean?
a comment about there not being showers on the road. But it was pungent and I just was overtaken and didn't have anything better to say.
Yeah, let me read a tweet from you, actually a DM from Karima the other day. She and I shared DMs from time to time. I'm like, how's it going? She's like, oh my God, this doesn't smell great. Because you were with James Topp and the Walkers yesterday, like all the crazies that were pretending to be part of this journey that James has legitimately been on because he's insane. So it's literally like jumping on a marathon in the last kilometer. That's what most of these people did. Like, you know those stories you hear about the marathon winner who's like, can't believe he made it. He looks so fresh. That's because they jumped in like the last half a kilometer. That's what all these people did. And this James Topp guy, who's crazy as a shithouse rat and totally part of an extremist / terror watch group called Diagolon. He's literally been at it since Vancouver. Like, he started in Vancouver, but like Paul Alexander, he jumped out of the woods and he's like, ooh, this has been a long trek. And all these other guys, they jumped in like around Canada going, oh my God, this is tiring, right? But you're saying the people that were with the group, that have been with the group, smell like shit? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I couldn't tell them apart. So the group that I smelled yesterday was unpleasant. How long any is the smell the result of the walking? I don't. There are a lot of questions.
Yeah. What was it, like an oniony smell? Was it a Gucci smell? Was it a taint odor? What was it? It was not lamb.
It was lamb. It's always lamb.
Spadoni. Yeah.
Spadini. All right. Well, listen. I'm excited for tomorrow. We're going to be doing this live. JB Sheep King's going to be joining us as well, which will be a lot of fun. We're going to start around 3:00. I don't know when the festivities start, but tell me if you find out when hanging Trudeau happens, because I saw this today. This is apparently supposed to start at noon and go till 2. It's the arrest. Is this what you were talking about? Is this what you're? Okay, let's go through. Yeah, let's go through it together. Arrest Trudeau for treason. Where? At the gates of Parliament Hill. When? Friday, July 1st from noon to 2. What? Arrest Trudeau for treason for unlawfully shutting down the peaceful Freedom Convoy of 2020.
My parents told me I couldn't have a party. I could kill him.
It gets better. He's facing life in prison, according to these people. Police will be called and an official complaint will be filed claiming Trudeau has committed treason by using violence against the people to overthrow the government of Canada. Now, that doesn't make any sense at all. Number one, they say the necessary evidence to invoke the Emergencies Act required by Section 3 was not given. Also stupid. The Joint Committee for the Declaration of Emergencies Acts has obtained a sworn testimony on record. The RCMP, OPP, and OPS all found the peaceful protest and did not recommend to invoke the Emergencies Act. I don't know if that's true. Don't care. Doesn't even fucking matter. He's the prime minister. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. That Trudeau did not seek the necessary parliamentary consent to invoke Emergencies Act as required by Section 6. Do you really think these guys know more about the law than government owners? This is the best. Now, they say the rights of the peaceful protesters was severely violated, contrary to the prohibition found in paragraph 3 of the Emergencies Act. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. The right to protection from arbitrary treatment by the police. You were camping downtown, you dumb fucks, for a month. Blah, 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 blah. Cause many stayed in jail without reasonable bail. No, you guys fucked yourselves over once again. Criminal Code of Canada treason, number 2, says everyone who commits treason in Canada who uses force or violence for the purpose of overthrowing the government of Canada or the province. I have about 25,000 hours of video of them doing that in February.
Yeah.
Like, is like the very thing, the projection here is fucking magic, Karima. I can't even fucking believe that these idiots put this out. I can, but I can't. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I can't believe that guy stuck his hand in the fire. I can, but I can't because these people are really fucking stupid. Let me finish. There is no need for a revolution in Canada, these people say. Now, keep in mind, these are the same people who put out a whole poster about, hey, everybody, noon, we're going to be hanging the prime minister. Then they go, guys, there's no need for a revolution in Canada or for fundamental changes in our laws as rights firmly protected, the Bill of Rights, blah, 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 blah. And then they say we will have an open mic following the short statement from Stand for the after the police are called. Bring your Canada flags and your fuck Trudeau flags and signs. See you there. Police, Justin Trader, the little potato. He thinks he's something, but wait till later. He'll be tried for treason for the reason of fomenting Canada's strife. Will be sentenced for life by Tom Salzberg. This is from the standforthe.ca people. That is
hot rap, James.
Without question.
I'm just writing down the name. So I know
that is without question the most unhinged, dumbest one pager. You could go into any, and I mean this, any candy capable group home in this country, and you could say, do me a poster. It would look 5 times more salient than that. You could literally, like, that is the I don't even know how to explain it other than that is the sign and the markings of these crazy people and what they want. It is the most fucked shit I've ever seen in my life. And I was almost going to come on here and go, oh, poor James Top. Now I'm like, fuck you. I'm all in all weekend. And I'm going to make sure I'm all in on weekend. Because that to me is worth fucking going to the mat over with everything we have. Because it is just pure mental fucking illness in a group of people who are so fucking religiously and emotionally compromised that they should literally put in a cage in the town square, like for fucking ever. Whoever wrote that and fed into that, and if you're part of this group, you deserve nothing more than to be put in a cage in the town square, and people will walk by and buy a nice little rotten peach from the old lady, and we get to throw it at you for the next 25 fucking years because you are literally the most useless people. And Karima, I know you're a lawyer, and this is probably not legal. I don't know if we're allowed to do this.
I don't think this is a sentence. I don't know. We have this on the books.
I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but I say, like, fuck. They built Ripley's Aquarium right next to the Sky Dome. Like, we can't have a big cage in the middle of Toronto where we just jam these people in and go, Hunger Games, who wants to take a shot?
You're right, though. When you look at that one page, it's like somebody with, like, bipolar schizophrenia, some sort of manic thing, wrote it and literally went through all the phases of their illness as they were writing. Like, it happened. Every person showed up. But say this, Dave. Okay. Oh, yeah, that too. And oh, yeah, okay. Like, that's what that page is. Like, that page is just a vomit of fucking mental illness is what it is.
I thought 2 things when I saw it. If you could put it up for a second, Dean.
Yeah, sure.
The first thing I thought is if you're a homeless person that happens to be leaning against the wall of a Kinko's, you'd probably still be more savvy design-wise than whoever designed this poster. And then the second thing is that Justin Trudeau, you say what you want about his overacting or whatever, there's some political savvy there. But I don't think I've ever seen a politician so political savvy that they plan on overthrowing themselves. Yeah. That is something to applaud. Like, how do you overthrow yourself?
What's a Guinness record?
Police will be called.
Someone
the official complaint will be filed claiming Trudeau has committed treason by using violence against people to overthrow the government of Canada. Like, that's the first sentence.
He's the leader of the government.
Karima, that's the first sentence. In the first sentence, they're like, Trudeau tried to overtake himself.
And it goes down there.
Speaking of crazy, Karima, have any sight of the QAnon queen? Apparently she got a new RV donated to her by some guy in New Brunswick, and I think she's on her way. Have you seen her yet?
I have not seen her yet. I have seen some. I put out a video because Jody Ledgerwood went on the march but forgot to close her van door where it was parked.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's so funny.
Why is everything so funny right now?
Well, because these people are fucked in the head. It's like the funny. It's
Can I
funny
catch that
shit.
right, Ryan? Ryan, wait.
I know why.
Sorry, the Queen of Canada, whatever that fucking lady's name is.
Romana Dadula.
Someone from New Brunswick lent her a Winnebago?
No, donated to her a brand new fucking RV. Some old guy, some old rich guy, and somebody, I read it was a Vice article today, And one of their friends reached out anonymously to say they know the guy and that he's literally all in brain-wise and being washed by thinking that she's the real thing. She's the person who should be heading the country now.
Now, can I just quickly recap who Ramona Dadula is? She looks like my old nanny. Long story short, she's like an immigrant, I believe, from the Philippines. She is clearly mentally unwell and emotionally unwell, and let's just say elevator doesn't go all the way to the top of the building here.
No, it doesn't even, the door doesn't open.
I want to jump in for a second.
Yeah.
You see these RVs in this parking lot. Those are the James Top RVs. So I think inadvertently I am passing by them. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled.
Okay.
I have not broken into a single sweat because I have done no walking.
Yeah, you're not walking this year.
Smells
you're
like
just
a peach.
Full on scooter. It was hard to scooter in the snow in February, wasn't it?
It was. Got a little bit of scootering done, but this is much more forgiving weather.
Yeah.
Karima, you look like a queen today. Did you get like a makeover or something? What's going on? Because you look like you just like every. Okay. All right. It's a haircut.
She got a haircut.
Sorry. I thought it was a makeover.
Yeah.
You look good.
She looks incredible. She looks awesome. A little bit of a wrinkle. It's supposed to piss rain starting tonight and all throughout the weekend. How are the freedom losers feeling about that? Have you talked to anybody about the forecast?
I haven't talked to anyone about the weather. That sends a signal from the heavens, which we'll see how they react to that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like nature punishes them, but also me.
Yeah, because I'm kind of hoping for a good turnout this year. And I know it's weird because the downtown's kind of sectioned off. You're not allowed anywhere. And in case anybody understands how the Canada Day used to work, it was like full-on free-for-all party downtown. Everybody walk around with pints, celebrate this country, kids in face paint, floats, balloon animals
Awesome
and people on bikes and pogo sticks and cool, red and white clowns. Everybody now because there's construction downtown and they're redoing the whole. I think they're building a bomb shelter for Trudeau. Actually, I don't know. I'm not even too sure. But they're digging deep into the ground in front. So what they're doing is they're moving everything out to LeBreton Flats. Right. That's my understanding. So have you talked to? Like you said, nobody has any clue what's going on outside this apparently really cool treasonous rally we're having against Justin Trudeau at noon tomorrow. But outside of that, do you know anything about people going to LeBreton Flats for the concert? Have you heard about, any groups of people other than this James Top guy and his smelly friends trying to touch the war memorial?
I honestly, if I hear, I'm open to tips.
Okay.
Follow up on those. But I just planned on scootering around to see what the situation is on these streets. There is sort of, oh, wow, look at that. The car in front of us has a fuck Trudeau decal.
So cute.
But there is an irony in people who have made freedom their rallying call. The most tangible effect of what they have managed to accomplish is that Ottawa effectively is going to be a police state for the next few days. Whereas normally on Canada Day, it's the total opposite of that. So there's something to unpack there. And I think that it's actually indicative of what the broader movement represents, right? It's the words of freedom, but it's actually ushering in something more sinister and very unfree.
Yeah, totally agree. We'll let you go, Karima. I know you're busy. Karima, follow her on Twitter at Karima Rules. She's been posting unbelievable videos all day, and we'll get to the Pierre video in just a second. But follow Karima on Twitter, and don't forget you can donate to her. All the information, because she's there. She's her own journalist, self-employed. All that information is on the front page of her Twitter feed. I think Instagram as well. You've got that information where people can donate to you. Is that correct?
It is. It's my pinned tweet. PayPal. Words of support, I will gratefully accept all of it.
There you go. Listen, you stay safe. I'm sure we'll be in touch a little later on today. But listen, if anybody drops trow and takes a dump in the middle of the street, please call me right away. If any of these people... Video. All right.
Wish them luck with their community shower tomorrow.
Tell them to have a good time in the falls. Thanks for doing this, Karima. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Karima.
Bye, Karima.
Karima Saad, ladies and gentlemen, at Karima Rules on Twitter. As she goes forward.
What a weird country we live in right now. Do you remember?
Right.
Do you remember reading about or seeing that documentary Gonzo, the Hunter S. Thompson documentary, when he ran for mayor of Aspen, and one of his promises was to spike the water supply with LSD? I think someone might have done that.
Maybe they took him up on it.
Like, what the fuck is going on? It's just like, it's so normal to see fuck Trudeau bumper stickers that it's like, or I was driving, we just came back from the grocery store and, a big giant fuck Trudeau flag just on someone's lawn. And I was like, where are we? Like, what? I don't understand this. And when Pierre Poilievre becomes prime minister one day, if he does, sorry, I'm not assuming he will, but if he does.
He won't.
If someone did that and said, fuck Pierre, first of all, Pierre would be like, finally. Because he looks like a virgin. But it just seems to me that they would, like, I don't even know if they'd get mad. They'd be like, yeah, you're just copying our styles. Like, there is no meaning to anything anymore. Like, there is no meaning to any of this shit.
No.
Overthrow the government with the head of the government. What are we talking about?
We're talking about mentally unwell people who, by and large, probably parents are related somehow because they're all white, and white people like to keep it in the white family. So that's probably part of it. Inbreeding, incest, a lot of that stuff. I would bet you that 70% of the people that show up to this thing this weekend are the product of a cousin relationship. Number one. Number two.
Not sure where that comes from, but you're probably right.
The church, a lot of inbreeding in the church, because you can't be married to anybody who isn't in the church, right? If you're an evangelical freakazoid, you got to marry someone who's also an evangelical freakazoid. Do not be unequally yoked. That's the actual verse in the Bible. Don't come at me, I'll eat your brain. I know this stuff. So here's the other part, is that a lot of inbreeding. And so you've got a lot of these people who are legitimately just stupid, right? Like legitimately disadvantaged when it comes to the genetics that they were handed down to them, because some of their mom or their brother or their sister might be, also an aunt and uncle, maybe a grandfather. Who knows? I mean, we know how the church works. We know how evangelicism works around this country. Is they're like, hey, listen, she's a second cousin, so does that mean we're going to have freaky looking kids? We're like, I don't know. Let's roll the dice because she loves Jesus too. Like, that's the way these fucking weirdos work. So, and that's what these people want. That's who is driving this movement. Are the same people who are super happy that women can't get an abortion in the United States anymore. They're the same people who are really unhappy with Justin Trudeau because he wants people to feel included or inclusive and wants people to use pronouns. I could give two fucks about any of those things other than, are we including everybody? Are we inclusive? Or are we being kind? Or what are we trying to do? But you're talking legitimately about a group of people who are there expressly to hurt individuals who don't agree with them. That's what this is. Yeah. If you want to boil it down, it's the most inbred, religiously stupid group of people in this country that really do believe that they're going to arrest Justin Trudeau tomorrow on the ground on Parliament Hill steps. That's
even in the country right now.
It's right here. Arrest Trudeau for treason.
He's at a NATO meeting right now,
isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Germany, Brussels, somewhere, Greece. I can't remember. Somewhere.
He was Germany, but I think he was moving along. But I'm not sure if he's going to be in town tomorrow, folks. So you might be disappointed.
How are they going to arrest him? How are they going to arrest him?
Well, he's going to arrest himself, Dean.
Oh, that's right. He's going to put out an APB on himself.
So the last time there were mandates and we were in the thick of the pandemic and all that kind of, or whatever, the pandemic was happening, the lockdowns and mandates and all that shit. Now all that shit is gone. Yeah. How can this not be a political operation with the Conservative Party of Canada? Like, they're there because they're still angry over the Emergencies Act being declared for 6 days or whatever that was?
Nope. Nothing to do with any of that stuff anymore. They'll say it is.
It's a political rally.
Yeah. Well, it's a Christo-fascist political rally is what it is, right?
Yeah, and if he was anything, if he was any sort of a serious leader, he would go there. And you know what? I would respect Candace Bergen's statement the other day. We should meet with everybody there, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they're educating them, saying, guys, appreciate it, but listen, it's all taken care of. You guys are good. Mandates are done. Time to go home. And if they did that on a camera, I'd have a lot of respect for him at that point. That'll never happen because he's going to try and spin this into something for himself.
Yes.
It's like putting wrestling fans in charge of NASA.
It totally is. It totally is. You want to see? This is one of the videos Karima did with Pierre. This is like literally right when,
except for
what Pierre
Karima.
did.
Except for Karima. She's the only smart wrestling fan. Sorry.
We don't. This is when Pierre joined the terrorists / extremists from Diagolon on their march towards the War Memorial, where they absolutely do not give a fuck about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. None of these guys do. None of them care about this country. They all hate you, by the way, every single one of them. That's why they operate a country within a country, or think they do, because A, they hate this country, hate you, hate me, hate everything other than what they say is important. And Pierre really fucking loves that about these guys. Watch this. This is literally right when Pierre jumped in, and he only walked with these guys for a couple of blocks for the video and the photo op to kind of fucking give his little base a little bit of, hey, you racist cocksuckers. Guess who your guy is still? Hey, this guy right here. I'm your racist cocksucker leader. Don't worry about a thing. I got you covered. That's what this was all about.
The march continues, and we have a semi-celebrity. I said semi. Don't get your hopes up. Not going to attract the real suckers.
And did you happen to catch what Pierre said?
No.
Well, I think the political class is starting to finally catch on to your message slowly. That's what he was saying to James Topp.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
That part of it.
Yeah, like as though he's just fueling him and just.
Let's turn that shit up and listen to it again.
The march continues, and we have a semi-celebrity.
Yeah, he is. He did say that. I think the political.
I said semi.
Yeah, she's the best. I think the political ass is starting to get your message slowly. Oh, yeah, that you want to operate a country inside Canada called Diagolon? Oh, yeah, that you wanted to crash a fucking truck through the front gates of Parliament and kill everybody and have a January 6th? Because that same guy that Pierre just said that to, by the way, that's this guy. That's this guy, the guy talking right here. I played it for you earlier. I'll play it again. This is James Topp, like a year ago. Not even, less than a year, 6-8 months ago. Watch this.
Guys, let's get pumped for this. Let's go to fucking Ottawa.
Let's go.
I want to see one of those truckers. I wouldn't prize none of our guys, obviously, but I would like to see our own January 6th event. See some of those truckers plow right through that 16-foot wall. None of us, of course. I just like to see it.
There's going to come a point in time.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. There you go. That's who Pierre was just walking with, and he said, I think they're starting to get it. I think they're starting to get your message. That guy wants to be the prime minister. That guy. That's fucking hard to believe, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like if you when you put those two things together and you go, oh well, who are these people? Oh, they're Diagolon. They're a group of people like Jeremy McKenzie. He's on one of the I'll play another clip. God bless Rachel Gilmore from Global. She's the person that came out with this. This is the same group of guys with Jeremy McKenzie, who is on. I don't know if he's still under house arrest. He might be for a bunch of weapons charges, illegal weapons charges. He sent a bunch of weapons to Coots. Like, he's just a fucking piece of shit. We've had a little go around with him and his group, too. They're off my back, and I know more important people than they do, so I don't really give two fucks. But I want you to watch this real quick. This is nice.
Jesus.
Fuck
hey, what about Faith, Derek? Is Faith good?
There's buddies of mine that are in Toronto that like they're black and Muslims, and they're like, "Where is this guy? I'm gonna get him for you." I'm like, "Oh, go ahead, go find him." Go get the neo-Nazi is sending black Muslims after you.
We don't give a flying. That's why anti-hate. That's why I fucking hang around with you guys. If you guys were like fucking white supremacists, I hate blacks and I hate Asians, I wouldn't fucking be here. What the
Cheers
fuck
to you,
Some of our guys are married. Our guys are married to Asians, for God's sakes.
Yeah, fuck off. Like, I would not be.
That's what I was just saying earlier. Like, most of our guys are with Asians or natives or like.
I'd marry an Asian.
I mean, look at me. I'm a.
Like, my best friend's black, guys, just so you know. So I can tell, I can say these things.
I'd marry an Asian.
Yeah. So fucking stupid.
Like, that's who these guys are, man.
That's beautiful.
That's what's going
beautiful,
on.
Kenny.
That's the dark extreme. That's beautiful.
You're so inclusive, Kenny.
So inclusive. Way to go.
You know, I'd fuck an Asian, man. I really would. I'd do it. Yeah, great, man. You're a fucking.
Oh man,
gem.
you really are
Good
a man
egg.
of all the people.
What a humanitarian you are.
Yeah.
What a favor you'd do for all of us.
If all those guys made it to Parliament, like as MPs, then 5 people in Parliament would have thumb calluses from video games. That would be kind of neat.
Yeah. Let's watch this again. These are the guys that want to overthrow the government and take it over, by the way.
Jesus.
Fuck
hey,
yeah.
what about Faith, Derek? Is Faith going to
There's dude. There's buddies of mine that are in Toronto that like they're black and Muslims, and they're like, "Where is this guy? I'm gonna get him for you." I'm like, "Oh, go ahead, go find him." Go get the neo-Nazi is sending black Muslims after you.
We don't give a flying. That's why anti-hate. That's why I fucking hang around with you guys. If you guys were like fucking white supremacists, I hate blacks and I hate Asians, I wouldn't fucking be here. What the
Cheers
fuck
to
would I
you,
Some of our guys are married. Our
Our
guys are married to Asians, for God's sakes.
Yeah, fuck off. Like I would not be.
That's what I was
if
just
that
saying
was
earlier.
it.
Like most of our guys are with Asians or natives
Yeah.
or like.
I'd marry an Asian.
I mean, look at me. I'm a.
That's it. That's the brain trust
And
of the
Asian.
movement right there.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I'd marry an Asian. What I do?
Yeah.
What I do? Really romantic.
It comes in the box, you know. You can collect the whole set, you know.
What a bunch of fucking dumb fucks.
It's unbelievable.
It
It's
is, isn't it?
They say it out loud, and then they put it. They turn on a switch, and then they put it on the internet for everybody to hear.
Here's what they do that I get a kick out of too, because I actually had to go through and watch some of this shit, and I'm like, these guys are fucked. The express goal of each one of these meetings is to get super drunk and to go as long as they can and complain as much as they can about the shit they don't like and how things should be. And usually by the end of them, and if you fast forward to the end of any, if you can find them, if you can fast forward to the end of any of these videos, the funny part is that this they really like it gets really slurry and hard to follow at the end because they're so fucked, like so wasted. And each one of these guys, to a man, I don't know how many are veterans. I know a couple of them are or were.
Yeah.
But this is the real problem that these guys have, is that they're not terra firma. They're not even fucking based in reality because all they do is drink. And they drink because they have PST. They don't want the vaccine because of the mefloquine stuff. They hate the government. They were mistreated by the government. And I kind of feel sorry for what put them in this spot.
Perfect storm.
Right? I really do, because like these guys are fucking idiots. For sure they're fucking idiots, and for sure they're racist, and for sure they don't give a fuck about you or me or this country. They care about themselves. They care about their skewed, drunk ass, fucked up view of the way the world should work, and they want to feed into this machine, which Pierre Poilievre is also a part of. Right? That's all this is. It's like, as you said, perfect storm. This group sees that group. They're all moving in the same direction. So let's kind of compare our assets and move forward together. But the general feeling that I have for these guys is just fucking pity. Like I absolutely
and you know what?
pity these guys.
The Canadian government can blame itself for the ones that are soldiers, for not giving them the support and the help that they need. So they have a bit of a point on that end where they shouldn't trust the government because the government fucked them over. It's just a matter of now you're dragging it into a land of fantasy and trying to bring the rest of the country with you that aren't affected the way you are. If you're looking for advocates to stand up for you, this isn't the way to do it. This is just not the way to do it. You'll get a fringe minority of people that will join your movement, like the ones, the hangers on, like you say, the ones that join at block 99 of a 100-block walk. You'll get those guys, but you're not doing yourselves any favors if you're looking for support in a movement of making change, like tangible change in a government. You're just talking crazy, and half of that is because your brain is melted by trauma. It's melted by possibly the mefloquine issue that they all went through. So how do we fix that? I don't know. I just don't think it's literally, like I say, it's a perfect storm, and there's no turning off that tap.
No, there isn't. There isn't. Go ahead, Jamesy.
I was just thinking, like, I mean, these guys, they're like if you went back in time 25 years when they were like
fucking
high school kids or something in like, grade 11, the conversation would be exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
Like they have this
You
arrested
think?
development. Yeah, they just sound like teenagers to me, right? But
yeah.
But the thing is that this government didn't fuck them. This current government didn't fuck them. The government didn't even inherit a war, right? Like Afghanistan, we were done. We're doing like peacekeeping shit in Africa and stuff like that, and that's about it. So maybe the previous government fucked them. Also, I bet you anything, 3 out of 5 of those guys found a way to collect CERB. So they're probably using the government, for the money that that it was doling out for a while. And I'm just wondering what's happening in the PC caucus right now. Because ever since the Max Bernier, Andrew Scheer thing, it was the worst kept secret ever that they were a polarized caucus. They're a polarized party, the Conservatives. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like there is there must be some. It'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall in like the Conservative caucus right now, as people are like, how long is he going to placate these people? Is he going to placate them till election day? Is he going to ditch them once he wins the leadership? What's going on? Like, I think that the party itself is probably fragmented right now because of what they're seeing, especially with Pierre walking.
They definitely are. Mm-hmm. Definitely are. We talked about this yesterday at the Abbey. We talked about this, and it's exactly what it is. And most of the party doesn't support the guy because of what he's done, what he's doing to it currently. It was already almost unsalvageable, and this guy is just fucking kicking it the face in to end it.
Yeah. He thinks he's smarter than everyone too, which is a problem.
Oh yeah. This guy, you mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't believe I'm getting away with this.
He's such a fucking dick.
Just a tool.
23 years old. He was the principal secretary to Stephen Harper. I wonder what that does to a person. I wonder what that does to their confidence, their hubris.
Ego.
Yeah. Clearly we know what it's done. It's turned him into a fucking terrorist. Here he is with some terrorists. That's what it's done, is that he has nowhere to go but there, because he's done everything he can do, and now the only thing he really wants is to be the guy that he really wanted to be in the first place, and he can't be because he's literally too fucking stupid. There's a website, I don't know if you guys have seen this website, it's called skinnytrump.ca. And you can go to skinnytrump.ca. Pierre Poilievre is Skinny Trump. You can read the blog. You can read the comments. And it's absolutely fascinating how they've kind of lumped in all the different things that this guy's all about, right? Like the lies that he's told. Is he corrupt? Well, he promoted Bitcoin while holding shares. He was part of the robocall election scandal. So I guess so. Is he a white supremacist? Did Pierre Poilievre try to rig the election? There are so many different examples of how fucking crooked this guy is that sit right in the open. And if you go to skinnytrump.ca, you can literally read them. You can read about why he actually has a deal with Elections Canada. And he's the only politician in the country that has one that says that he's not allowed to do anything when it comes to writing election policy because of the Fair Election Act, which he tried to pass a few years ago, which was based on a lie, and he got caught. Yeah. That's what this is, the white supremacy stuff, who he goes after. I'm a believer in using simple Anglo-Saxon words. He said that. And we broke it down, and we know exactly what it means. He tried to rig an election several years ago for the Conservatives. If you don't think that he doesn't know exactly what he's fucking up to, and if you don't think that he's not Skinny Trump, or as we called him, Dollar Store Donald yesterday, you're fucking crazy. This guy's literally the Dollar Store Trump.
Yeah, that Fair Elections Act thing, he actually he kind of used me for that, because that thing came up. Remember that thing where I voted federal election to show people that you could vote with ID? That was the policy. And then the Conservatives made a policy to put ID back in or whatever. And his favorite quote was like, "Oh, there's 32 different types of IDs you can use to vote in the election or whatever." But he actually went to a committee meeting once and cited me by name, saying that we can't have more DeFioris running around voting multiple times in an election, even though I did it for a fucking newspaper. And I had to write an apology article for Rabble. I just did it for the money. I wasn't really sorry, Rabble. But I needed $50, right? But at the time. but his whole thing, his it is very. You guys know who Fred Luntz is? I think that's his first name. He's the guy that created.
He's a different consonant away from it having the best last name in the history of last names, though.
Yep.
True. Luntz is his last name. Is it Fred? Anyways, he's the famous Republican strategist who, when they wanted to come up with a better way to describe global warming, he created the term climate change. When they wanted to stop the government from charging you an estate tax when you would inherit money, he called it the death tax. He's that guy. Frank Luntz, that's his name. And he just is the guy that comes up with the buzzwords. Like he'll survey people, he'll figure out the best way to call people so that the best way to create new terminologies so that Republicans can win elections. Basically, that's what the Fair Elections Act was. It was an act named the complete opposite of what it actually was. He wanted to do what the Republicans do in the States with gerrymandering and all that kind of shit. He wanted to make it more and more difficult for minorities to vote because he knows that minorities mostly vote NDP or Liberal. And that's all that was. And it was amazing to watch at the time because, you know, when he was touting the 32 pieces of ID that you could now use to, who knows any more than 3 pieces of ID? Can you name 5? Like that are acceptable pieces of identification? Like it was all a scam. It was like a carnival scam. You know? And
that's their game every time. They always do that. They always use that rhetoric and because they can't win. They know they can't win by a fair election. So they have to cheat and they have to manipulate and they have to rig the game in favor of them. So what does that tell you? Like people need to really stop and think about who they're supporting and go, if my guy can't win fairly in a yes or no fucking question against another person, maybe my guy's a piece of shit. He has to go and sidle up next to some fucking extremists and terrorists to try to fucking win. Like
that fucking face. I just want to smack that face. I really do. Just want to smack. Not even with my palm, like the back of my hand. You know,
I would love 5 minutes, like in public with him. I don't want to touch the guy, but I could fucking do him in 3 seconds because I know all about his background and his history and his religion and what he believes and who he believes it for. I know all about his history. I know about his family. Like, just let me do him in like 3 minutes. I swear to God.
Maybe someone should sleep with his wife.
4 minutes.
Sorry. I didn't mean that.
I don't think that's the answer. I don't think sleeping with the man's wife is the answer.
Well, someone would feel good.
Yeah, that's true. No, I can't. I mean, we're going to get it tomorrow. I wonder what's going to happen. The forecast not looking great, by the way. Just letting you know.
It's too bad.
Yeah, the forecast is not looking super duper for tomorrow.
Maybe God can smell him too, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this."
They need this. They're getting a gift from the heavens tomorrow.
That's right.
I apparently I don't even know if you're going to see a big melee anyway, because now they're arresting people on the 417 on the way into Ottawa. People that have stay away conditions from the last fucking convoy. Sheep King said something about it in the comments earlier today.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he said that the convoy of people were arrested right on the highway. So
come on.
Yeah, they must have got ran the license
on the highway going into Ottawa from the 401. It's the 417. You got to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably got checked.
Yeah, because you know what they are? They give themselves away because they're so stupid. Like, this is the kind of part of the problem is that these guys are so fucking proud of being this dumb that they wrap their cars in fuck Trudeau stickers, right? So, like, if you were told you can't come back and you're like, fuck, go get the hockey sticks. We're gonna fucking duct tape them to the truck bed, and we're gonna fucking we're gonna fucking fuck Trudeau all over this fucking bitch.
Hey, buds?
All fucking right, buds. And you're taking the 417 into Ottawa, and they're like, "Oh, just pull them over, man." It's like, they're so stupid. I mean,
can I tell you something? Tell you something that they also don't realize, which is really cool. It's a neat system.
How did this happen?
Oh, fuck. I thought we had it. Fuck.
How'd they know it was us?
How'd they know?
I'll tell you how they know, and it's not the flags and it's not the hockey sticks. It's actually a really cool system called Alpers. Do you know what that is?
GPS?
No, Alpers is the automatic license plate reading system that the police, the OPP, and Ottawa police have on the top of their cars, and it automatically reads your plate. And if you have any sort of the registered owner of the vehicle has any sort of criminal history, it will pop up on the Alpers computer in the officer's car. It doesn't even have to type anything in. And if it catches your plate and it flags the person, it goes, bing, bing, this guy has a stay away condition from the city of Ottawa. He can't be here. Get pulled over. You don't even need the flag, boys. They'll know you're coming, and Alpers is out on the road waiting for you. It's
fucking
crazy.
Alpers.
Yeah, it's a really good system. So
they'll be out with like paint, changing the like R to a P or a B. This will do it. I'll fucking do it.
Yeah. So
I just want to bring this up. Moskrow put out a tweet titled "Happy Canada Day, Convoy Losers," and it's just the forecast for the weekend. And it's like rain 26, 11 a.m., 12 p.m., More rain, thunder showers, 26. Lightning and thunder, 1 p.m., 26. 2 p.m., same, 26. It is garbage all day fucking long. All day on Canada Day tomorrow in the beautiful city of Ottawa. And Moskrop, and this is what I love about Moskrop. Dude, he's one of the greatest followers in the world. You got to follow him, David Moskrop. Yeah. Moskrop writes for the Washington Post and the Globe and Mail.
It's a PhD.
He's got a PhD, and he tweeted today about how his specialty is being able to go and find PS5s at cut rate deals, and how happy fucking Canada Day, you losers, with the forecast of all the rain all day long. Don't tell me that smart people can't get their own in, okay? It's important to do it. It's important.
Absolutely. He's doing the good work.
Oh, that was fun today.
Speaking of good work, I think we did some good work.
Yeah, we did. We got through some stuff.
I was a little annoyed with you at the beginning, Dean.
Why?
Dean, because I was like, 3 bells? You're like, actually 4 o'clock. A lot of people want to talk to Spenny. And I'm like, oh, I love Spenny. And you're like, well... I can't remember exactly what you said, but you were like, "Well, do you want to talk to Spenny?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Sweet."
Should have just jumped in. You know how to jump into a podcast. You know how the fucking system works. You could. I just assumed you were going to just jump
polite.
in.
I wanted
no,
to
you
wait
jumped
for the
in.
link.
I was wondering where you were.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Because then I could.
But
you're going to give me that power? Because then I'm like producer power. I could like start throwing in my pictures of Poilievre and all my. I still have all my Millhouse pictures that I've saved on my blackballed graphics. Really? I just have them all there just because there's so many Poilievre like Millhouse pictures. Oh,
he looks a lot like Millhouse, doesn't he?
Oh my God. I even said on one of my podcasts I had a still frame of Millhouse's dad showing someone his race car his race car bed. And I was like, here's a rare photo of Pierre Poilievre's father.
Showing him his birthday present.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, let's be serious. Pierre's not too sure who his real dad is anyway, so who cares?
That's true.
Easy.
No.
He's got a little chip here on his shoulder, that one. You know?
Yeah, he does. He's adopted, right? So, like, you never know who your dad is. Who's your real dad? We should get some shirts made that just says
even
Pierre.
His real parents hated him.
Dad, just dad with a question mark.
Dad?
Dad?
No, a Pierre Poilievre shirt just says, who's your daddy?
And just have a picture of Millhouse's dad.
It's a real question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we put Millhouse's dad on it?
Who is your daddy? And what does he do?
That's mean.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? No. It's a great question.
Who does number 2 work for?
Oh, boys.
Anyway, thanks for doing this, boys. It was a lot of fun. Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast, where you can find him. Download the podcast and subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify. Sheeple Shepherd is the name of the podcast. He and his lovely wife, Ashley, do that podcast. At Ryan Lindley is where you can find him on Twitter. Great job yesterday at the Joe Carter tournament, by the way. That was a lot of fun.
God, what a good time.
It was a great time. We had a lot of fun over there, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd say so. Can I tell a quick little thing before we go about that?
Yeah.
So I was talking to Ashley last night after we got home, and I said to her, it's funny. I said, I've been doing this with you guys for like over a year. We've been hanging out almost every day. You know, it was kind of a trip at the beginning. You used to get that, like, oh, I'm going on a podcast with Dean Blundell. And it's just like, oh, fuck, yeah, podcast. Forgot. It's 2:57. I better go log in now, right? Like, it's pretty just the normal thing. It's a lot different when you're sitting next to you in a live podcast and you got Rookie producing in the back. Yesterday was a trip for me, just so you know, because I was never a radio guy. I was never into this, but actually doing it live with you there, it felt good. It was a neat experience.
Why?
Just because.
Qualify that for me, please. If we're going to talk about me, let's drag it out a little bit. Go ahead. Why?
All right. It's enough about me talking about me. Let's hear you talk about me. It was neat because you're somebody that I listened to, right? Like I listened to as I was growing up. Because you're way older than me, and yeah, like crazy amounts of older than me, and so I used to, and it was just somebody that I'd met you a couple times, like out of context at like a sausage fest or something in Toronto, and I was like, oh, that's Dean Blundell, and then we just started doing the podcast, and yeah, I was a little nervy at the beginning. It was like, oh shit, and then I got to the hang of it, doing virtual shit with you guys, but to actually sit and do a live show with you, that was intimidating. That was intimidating yesterday. I was a little bit shaky about that, and it felt okay afterwards. But it was like halfway through it, I'm going, that's fucking Dean Blundell. You're sitting there. You've got a microphone in front of you, just like we're on the same show. It's kind of cool.
What's amazing is that you say that. Yeah, you say that, and like across the table from me is a guy I'm doing that with, right? Doug Gilmour. I'm like,
Yeah.
Doug Gilmour's right here. No big deal. And then same thing with like Joe Cart. Like everybody has those people in their life.
Yeah.
But that was like, to me, that was just normal. Like walking into a room, seeing Doug Gilmour, giving him a hug, hugging Joe, hugging these guys. Is it because like and so I don't appreciate it like you appreciate it. But I get it.
That was a trip too, by the way. Watching you guys, you and Doug Gilmour telling each other to go fuck yourselves like 4 or 5 times, like over. It's like,
did you get that on film?
I guess I shouldn't. Yeah, I think Dean got something, but I don't know if like I think. Imagine if I just told Doug Gilmour to go fuck himself. I'd be removed.
He told
from
me
the
to go
Abbey.
fuck myself first, and then we started laughing. And then I started laughing, and then we had a big hug, and then we caught up, and because I haven't seen him for years, right?
But it's funny because we've hung out personally, like in person, of like a bunch of times. You, me, Ashley, the dog. For fuck's sakes, you've met my kid. Like we've done, like we're friends. But in that aspect of doing the show, it brought me into that different, because that's a different gear. That's a different zone for us, right? Like we talk a lot differently than we do when we're on here.
Yeah.
Usually, you know, like it's a little more laid back, a little more less polished. But it was trippy. It was really trippy. That's all.
Speak for your less polished self.
Oh, you should hear yourself when we're not on the air.
Yeah, I'm always polishing.
Something.
I polished before I got on the show.
You polished before you came on the show? Good for you.
I got
my
polished
guy.
before
That's
I came
my.
on here.
I
Did you
doubt
really?
it though, because you were pretty.
Yeah,
you were
I did.
shot out of a cannon today. You didn't polish before you came on the show.
I also
today.
shot out of a cannon today.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
Different cannon.
Yeah. We're sitting here talking, and James is like, I also did that today. And then
I know. He's really trying to
I
crowbar in that
exist.
he had sex today. Good for you, James.
I didn't have sex.
We're
a type
proud
of
of
sex.
you.
Yeah.
That's not that. Can I?
Congratulations.
I think I actually, all kidding aside, I think that was kind of nice what you just said. It must be interesting. It must be kind of a trip to sit beside Dean and work with him in that regard. When the first bookend was listening to him on the radio, that must be kind of trippy. Like I totally understand where you're coming from. Like I really do.
Well, even though we've surpassed that whole, you know, like where it's Dean Blundell. Now it's just it's Dean. He's a friend, and you know when you got into that, you put it into that scenario, it was a total different thing. Especially sitting next, like not just like this. My point is we've all had that the last 2 years of doing everything on a screen. And then when we're finally starting to get back into that, let's move in and get back together and doing things face to face.
Yeah.
Doing this, what we do now, in that setting was a trip. It was a really cool thing. So
The only time I ever got stage struck, guys,
thanks
in the
for
last
that, by
3
way.
years is when I met Chair Girl. Other than that, do you guys remember Chair Girl?
Yeah,
You met Chair Girl for real?
Where'd you meet her?
I did actually. You know, I met her. It was right before the pandemic. I don't remember. I was in
Rub and
Toronto
tug?
like for a second. Huh?
She was your first pick at a rub and tug?
No. Third.
I picked 2 other people, but she was the only person that didn't have a disease. So.
Also, can I say one thing before we
Soft
go?
hands.
I wanted to stop doing controversial stuff. I know we're not going to talk about yesterday's show, but tonight I'm not doing something controversial. I'm just listing all of the sexual crimes from the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church.
Congratulations.
So
All
no
right,
problem.
well,
But these are documented ones that are like in the newspapers and in the courts.
You know,
But
let me
all
let
of
people.
them.
Let me let people in on the back end of this because we have these back end conversations. So James likes weird content. He likes like the really intense shit, the stuff where you're like, I'll never fucking do that. So we go through this whole thing with David Wallace and the Klondike Papers. Our lawyer told us not to talk about the Klondike Papers anymore. Sorry, I'm just mentioning it because I'm trying to be upfront with everybody. And we're like, okay, because we did have done the due diligence of making sure that we keep everybody out of trouble. We don't ruin anybody's life. We don't. So James has been down that road and he's done that due diligence. So he's had a couple of podcasts where like someone will be listening or watching and the lawyer will go, shut it down.
Like literally every time James goes live, I see it, the notification, and then I wait for Rob's call. I wait like it's going to be 15 minutes and my phone's going to ring.
My audience
You got to pull this.
has doubled in the last month, but I'm our lawyers making sure I don't do anything.
It's true. I mean, the content that you're doing, you've grown. You're like you're charting on the news podcast. It was huge. You've done a great job. You're a great podcaster. You're realizing this great dream. And like we'll get this phone call on a Thursday at like noon or like 5 o'clock when your thing's airing, and it's Rob, and he's like, "Shut it down for the love of God."
And I'm sitting there trying to do a podcast, and my phone and tabs are all lighting up, and it's Chris like abort, and Rob's like, "What are you doing?" Like all these people are like fucking, and I'm sitting there trying to focus because I have ADHD, and a fly goes by, and the whole podcast gets ruined because of the fly, and I'm trying to ignore like dozens of messages coming in telling me that why don't you just burn the network to ground, dummy,
dude, it is so hard to fucking figure out content in 2022 because like, I'm from the school where you could do basically anything. You could fat shame, you could do gay jokes, you could call people the R word, like you could literally do anything. Dude, I remember when I was on the edge, like back in the early 2000s, someone's like, "Quit saying the R word." I went on a 30-minute tirade about why I was allowed to use it, and I used it gratuitously for 30 minutes, and I was on the air for another 15 years after that. So, like, listen, don't like the times have changed, and I don't feel like that guy anymore, and I don't feel like I need to be hurting people incidentally with the language I think I have a right to. That's just how I feel, right? I've felt like that for a long period of time now. But like when it comes to your stuff, it's like, you do the due diligence, and we're not, like I say this all the time, we're not like fucking investigative reporters. We're not, 60 Minutes. This isn't fucking Dateline. We're just here to talk about the fun shit and the weird shit. And the weirder the shit that's tied to this, the more people watch it. Like there's a science to this, and it's doing content that nobody does. And because we live in a country where like mainstream media is owned by legitimately fucking business mob elite, and you don't get the information, we feel sometimes like, hey, let's throw some shit against the wall and see if it sticks. But that's when Rob's like, abort! Abort!
Stop it.
We got the code bald.
Mad flower.
It's
Code
tough
mad
because,
flower.
Like you can swear, you can say all kinds of things. Like case in point, the irony of what content is acceptable and what isn't anymore. Yeah. The other day, and I'm just, because we were going to do a break about sperm.
Yeah.
Remember that? We were talking about sperm the other day.
Yep.
So I put, I'm just telling you what I did. I put sperm in the title of my Twitter search, right? And I hit, let's look for it. Oh, sorry. I can't tell you how much porn showed, like the most disgusting porn that I would never watch for a variety of reasons, of just full of jizz. It was like if you love jizz, fucking put sperm in the actual search bar of Twitter and Google the fuck out of it. The stuff that you see is the kind of stuff where you're like, I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight.
Yeah. All I saw was someone like spaghetti cheese.
Yeah, dude.
Is
and
she okay?
But you can't say, I want to punch Pierre Poilievre in the face on Twitter. However, you can post
a picture. I just said that on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. Isn't
Abort!
It? And clearly we're not going to do it. But it is the like to do content. My point is the hypocrisy and the irony in content in 2022. I don't know if you were doing anything bad. I just know our lawyer said, shut it down.
I was under the impression that Me Too stories that went during the Me Too era were like this. Oh, an anonymous accuser wants to point a finger at somebody, name him with no evidence. Let's do it. Page 1. And so I was like, okay, well, I got police reports and I got this and that.
Doesn't matter.
I'm going to do it. And it's just like, abort! And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I did it right. Robin Doolittle's like, tough break, James. You know?
Get off my lawn, James.
Yeah. That's right. Stop holding up a sign saying, advise me, please. Or it's just me,
anyway.
Yeah, high fidelity holding up a ghetto blaster that's just playing my podcast in front of Robin Doolittle's house. Yeah.
If you were wondering why James's last 2 podcasts had to get deep sixed right in the middle of them, that's why. Just
you know what? They're breaking records on Spotify.
All right, that's all that matters.
Good.
Well, that's your barbecue. Those ones are not associated with us.
No.
At the moment.
It's just on your network, but other than that, it's fine.
I know it's.
But you own your content, James.
Your lawyers are my lawyers.
No, they're not.
Well, one of them is. Rob is.
Yeah, that's true.
I signed a $1 thing with Rob.
Did you? Congratulations.
That's
I hope you gave him the $1.
He's worth it.
I doubt it. Probably stiffed
He's
him.
awesome. By the way,
him, didn't you?
If it wasn't for him, he's the best lawyer you'll ever meet, and that's why he's our partner. So make sure you give him a call. We're talking about my friend Rob at kivlaw.ca, defense lawyers. A bunch of different practice areas. They do everything from criminal defense law. You can get legal help 24/7. You can get your life back if you've gotten into trouble and you have nowhere to turn and you have nowhere idea what to do. This dude is full of humanity. He's also quickly starting this Safe Abortions Canada site. You can follow them on Twitter right now at Safe Abortions CA. So he's super kind-minded and wants to make sure that you get great legal representation. And he's incredible, great friend of ours.
He'll be here in a few hours.
Oh, will he? He's going to be on your podcast? Is that what you're doing?
No. He's just. I mean, he's coming to visit.
Oh, is he? He's coming up for a visit.
Yeah, we were supposed to actually go have lunch with him today, but I got too drunk last night. And was way too hungover to go have lunch.
You were so funny last night. You said I love you last night. I was like, I love you too,
I did.
drunk ass.
What happened? You got drunk with these guys last night?
Just after I got home from the Abbey. I had dinner and I had a couple of cocktails, and they were going down real nice. It was real nice out in the patio last night here at home. And next thing you know, Daddy was drunk. And so I missed my lunch opportunity with Kiv. So we'll have to make that up next week.
You're drunk last night. You weren't drunk today, or you were hungover.
I was hungover. I slept till like 10 o'clock this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a couple days off, right? So you took a couple days off.
Yeah, no, I'm good now. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well done, gentlemen.
That's why I had the Caesar on the podcast today. That's why I said yesterday's Dean took care of today's Ryan. I feel fantastic now.
Dude, I am not a drinker, and I don't shit on people who drink, and I shouldn't be saying this as someone who helps guys get off the booze. Fastest way through a hangover is get back right into the fucking gear.
Or just get that one Caesar's perfect. I feel like I feel normal. The MSG
soda
or a beer and clam.
Beer, clam, Caesar, MSG. Just get right back into it. Now listen, if you're an alcoholic and you're like, oh man, Dean knows it, and you're like, why are you telling people to go get fucking hammered when they're hungover? Because it's the only thing that can save your life sometimes. Yeah. Just letting you know. Like there's a reason. I don't know if you guys know anything about Bill W., the guy that founded AA. You know what he used to do when he'd send guys to a clinic when he first started working with them? He'd fill their pockets with fucking Mickeys of booze because it was a long train ride. And he's like, you're going to need this. I know you're going to quit, but you're not going to be able to make it without this booze. So that's why I say what I say. I'm Bill W.
You are?
Not really, no.
It was good. Yeah, but you were you yesterday you had me in mind today, and I appreciate that, friend.
Put a Caesar in his bag. Anyway, thanks, boys. Are you going live tonight, James? No?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 9 o'clock here on the network?
Yes, 7 o'clock.
Okay, so
unless Mercedes has something going on, and then I'll have to bump it.
Yeah, Mercedes was last night. She was great, too.
Yeah, she was good. I was like, she always catches me with my shirt off. We end up in the back end at the same time, and I'm like doing this, and then she'll come in, and she'll be like, James? And I'm like, stop it, right? So, yeah.
Why are you taking your shirt off while you're still logged into the show? No.
I don't think like that. I just,
this?
Unless I go on air, I don't care. Plus, I have a pretty good man.
Imagine a virtual sexual harassment suit. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
First one.
I'm not going to sue her for that. She just complimented my chest,
Yeah, if anybody gets, like, if there's a video that leaks from DeanBlundell.com of a guy standing in front of a computer jerking off, it'll be this guy's video.
Oh, for sure.
And it'll be incidental.
100%. There's not even in my mind that would be me over all of us, for sure.
Oh, I know.
So.
Me neither. That's why I said
In fact, tune in tonight at 10:30 because I may just do that accidentally.
When I hit live.
Great to see you guys.
I gotta go.
Thanks for
Love
being
you guys.
Good to see you.
See you, Linz. Good to see you
tomorrow.
See you, Jamesy.
Love you, boys.
Talk to you guys soon. Jamesy tonight at 9 o'clock. Lynn's Sheeple Shepherd podcast is where you can find him. Go to Sheeple Shepherd podcast, wherever you get your fine podcast. You can also download James's podcast, Blackballed, which is a great podcast, actually. He had the, I can't remember the guy's name. Truth Thrust. He's big into hip hop. James, tons of like hip hop history, specifically Canadian hip hop history. I know it'll blow your mind because he's into like weird shit too, but you won't find a guy who loves Canadian hip hop history more than him. So give him a follow if you love the same things. Blackballed is the name of the podcast, wherever you get your fine podcast. Thanks to Karima for joining us. Thanks to Spenny, Spencer Rice. So good to see him again for Kenny versus Spenny. He'll be back again, I can imagine. So, and I look forward to seeing him again. That was a lot of fun. Follow him on Twitter as well, at Spenny on Twitter and YouTube. His Love Stream show, which is fucking weird and funny and a total free-for-all. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it today. Don't forget, we want to thank our friends at Kivlaw. Go to kivlaw.ca if you're looking for a criminal defense attorney, if you're in trouble and you have absolutely no idea who to turn to. Rob is your guy. Again, kivlaw.ca. Kivlaw.ca. Again, thanks to our friends at Ed's Fine Imports for making this possible as well. Go to Ed's Fine Imports and you can order a pair of his gitch. He's got huge deals and tips on how to dress. There's a lot of people that have no idea how to dress. Ed knows exactly how to dress, and he teaches people how to do it. You can get promo codes if you go to edsfineimports.com, download the promo codes, and right now, they'll send you a free pair of underwear when you use the promo code GITCH, and then the number 3. That's your promo code, GITCH3. And huge online store as well. Go to edsfineimports.com, order 3 pairs of GITCH or more. Luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Try them today. edsfineimports.com. And of course, Easy Auto Financial, helping you get in a vehicle, helping you get financing for that vehicle as well. Go to easyautofinancial.ca for more details. It depends on how your credit rating is. That's the financing game when it comes to buying a car. It's very difficult right now because money's tight. We're basically in a recession, even though no one is going to say you're in a recession. But these guys know exactly how to get you financing for the vehicle that you want. So if you're up against it, or if you got great credit and you just want other people to do the work for you, go to easyautofinancial.ca. Sign up today, no obligation. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter, which is super simple. The newsletter will give you a chance to kind of go a la carte. So if you want just podcasts, we'll send you podcasts. If you just want news, sports. That's the way it works. I like it. But go and sign up for a newsletter, please. DeanBlundell.com. It's right in the middle. Sign up for a newsletter. We really appreciate that. And then we won't spam you either if we never do that. Because you can't. You're not allowed. Castle rules and laws. I know way too much about the digital game now. It's full. My brain is full of useless digital information. See you tomorrow live at the Convoy with Karima, pending the pissing rain. Bye.